Factorio.
Hello, and welcome to the Saladcast on Saturday, the 26th of August, 2023. I'm your host, Dan Train. Joining me today, Zachary Burgess.
In the hot room.
And Robert Kemp.
With the rain pouring outside.
The 3-person hot room, which is why it's going to be hotter.
Triple hot.
The box. The hot box. The box of hot.
Is it the Doom room or the room of Doom? Have we ever decided?
This doesn't have a room mirrored on the other side of the hallway, unfortunately.
No, it's true. That's true. It can't be. If it does, it's in some other building somewhere else. So, like, have you ever been in one of the, like someone's loo where they've got like this is a twinned toilet, right? And it's like that would be the parallel, right?
Twinned.
A twinned toilet. You seen that where someone like twins their toilet with like a third world toilet as like kind of like
no, I have not seen
no one has ever seen that. What are you talking about?
It's a thing.
That was a thing. Well,
Yeah,
as in,
it's like kind of
you
like
bought the toilet in the third world or whatever.
No, I think
donated
it's a little bit like, you know, when you adopt an animal, like
You adopt a toilet.
like sort of, yeah. You're like you bought this thing and it helped build a toilet in somewhere where they need a loo.
Are you sure this was a legitimate product and wasn't just like someone's funny joke that they made for their house?
Oh, no, I've seen it more than once. So that
still doesn't necessarily mean it wasn't a funny joke.
In the toilets. Wow. Blowing my mind here.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like an ongoing like subscription you paid in order to keep that like twinned status.
I've never seen like a late night advert for like twinning your toilet.
Twin your loo.
With the less fortunate.
Yeah, it's a thing. I bet the charity has a comical name. I don't know.
I don't know if it would. I think charities would probably normally avoid having comical names.
I haven't put my phone in my pocket, so no on-air checks for me today.
Is that still thriving, the concept of even twinning towns? I feel like I don't see.
Well, you don't get new
Yeah.
towns any longer, really, so
No.
you don't have an opportunity to create new pairs.
I mean, surely untwinned towns could just twin with whoever they want.
Well, I mean, I think that's still been happening a bit. I mean, I presume that probably is a case of like once you reach a certain size, then you start shopping around for other towns that have also come up to that certain
Similar
size.
size, yeah. Because you could twin with somewhere that you then outgrow, like, and then it becomes a bit awkward. Like,
Yeah, I mean there's lots of cases of that where it's like this huge ass city is now twinned with this tiny village because one of them got bigger.
Yeah.
I reckon like towns can just romance each other. Like,
Yeah. A bit of town courting.
Yeah, town.
City flirting.
It's a bit of township. Is it only called courtship if the town has a court?
Is that the requirement?
Yeah.
That's how you tell. That's how you tell towns are of legal age. Just once they have a court, so they can courtship.
Well, that discounts us then.
Yes. Well, no, Ipswich has courts.
Yes, and we don't live in Ipswich.
Yeah.
It closed the one in Bury, I think.
Actually, isn't Ipswich already twinned or something?
Almost certainly.
Yeah.
I think
You don't even know, and you've lived there for years.
one.
Yeah. Well, you have to go past the only way to know is to go past the sign, right?
Yeah.
Which you don't look at after the first time.
No. I'm sure I went past the sign into Ipswich today and it didn't say anything about a twin. It
Depends.
It just said,
because it might not all be on all of them as well. Because like different entrances can have different signs sometimes.
It was a sign and it had a photograph on the sign of like the Christchurch mansion on the sign, and it said it said like East Anglia's waterfront town or something. And it's like that's not very distinctive.
Oh, yeah, I have seen that.
Come on, come up with something better than that.
I mean, so what about all those like seaside towns? Are they not waterfront towns, or does
different water?
Yeah, does waterfront imply it has to be a marina?
I mean,
or...
East Anglia is surrounded by water on most sides, apart from the west side.
Yeah,
I guess.
In which case there are multiple waterfront times, but it's the waterfront.
That's just because they redeveloped the docks, right?
Yes, it is.
Sure.
Yeah.
And in fairness, that is the picture of Ipswich they use on like Look East when they're doing like here's all the towns. It's like here's a picture of Ipswich Marina.
Yeah, I mean that's the nice part, but also they redeveloped it just at the time when there was a financial crash, and then one of the buildings just left as the wine rack.
Yeah,
indefinitely.
It's still there.
Yeah.
I wonder how much graffiti's in that thing.
The wine rack. Yeah.
Like, do people are people able to like? I wonder if they put any stairs in. Like, so it's
so you could actually
like,
access it at all.
Yeah.
It's so great that the tradition of, because London was naming the buildings, right? The Gherkin and then the Shard, and we've got Ipswich has the wine rack because it's unfinished.
Yeah, I don't know what you would call the sort of white, weird-looking building that actually did get finished next to it. Right, there's one that's like full white and it's slightly uneven shaped.
It's got an official name, hasn't it? It's like the Mill or something.
Oh yeah, something boring like that. Yeah. But it's it should have a nickname like the Tetris or something. But not like that Futurama joke where they build and accidentally make a Tetris,
and
it's
it
like
annihilates.
Oh no, can't have that. Yeah, so I've been travelling a little bit. I went to the Winch.
The Winch?
The Winchester. That is decidedly a town.
Where's it twinned with?
It's actually, the toilet is twinned with right here.
Is that once you've gone to the loo that ultimately twins it?
Oh yeah, exactly.
With your own loo.
No, it's like licking food.
The last place outside of this house that you cramped.
It's like licking food. I own this now.
Yeah, marking territory.
Yeah, it's probably been twinned by someone else by now.
Yeah, I would have thought so. I mean, Winchester was the capital of England, right? Pre-London,
right?
I think.
Was it?
Right? Because
it
was the capital of Wessex.
I think that's right,
and
right?
Because that became the biggest kingdom.
Yeah, I guess because that's where all the Viking invasions kind of, like, there was a Winchester focus for some reason.
Well, the Vikings went up north to Northumberland, right? And Winchester was like south, was like the Britons, or not Britons, but the Anglo-Saxons.
Well, I think King Canute hung out in Winchester for a bit. I think
Canuting around.
It's frustrating because it's like, in theory, the timeline of all that crosses over with where in Vinland Saga I am. Like, of all that sort of history. It's like
the Danelaw.
But they don't explicitly mention where in, like, Britain they are. They just like, it's like, oh, we're in England for a bit. Now we're in Denmark for a bit. I think they do mention they're in, like, near Yellings or something, or Jellings, or however it's pronounced in Denmark. But I don't even know if that's their modern name. Who knows? Someone will. Historians will know. They did have like a come and enjoy the ancient Winchester experience courtesy of Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Oh right, sponsored.
Like there was like a booth, like a store in like just one of the shopping centers was just like, here, come do this, and I'm like, I could go play Assassin's Creed, I guess. Is it like Assassin's Creed in learning mode, and they've just somehow made a business out of it? But they called it an immersive experience. So it's like, do they rig up like, I don't know. I kind of almost don't want to know because it's like, oh, they just used a video game. Low effort.
Low effort.
I mean, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to poo-poo your business. Maybe it does well. Maybe. Anyway, Winchester was okay. We had good pizza.
Is that the mark of that's your measure of a town?
Yeah, exactly. I had a sourdough pizza joint, and it was pretty good. Just making you all hungry now, right? So you're ready for pizza at the end of this.
Getting pizza at the end of this.
You don't need to do that for that to happen. That's what always happens with the traditional podcast timing.
Reliable. So, what brought you to the Winch?
The Winch? Oh, it was our 8th wedding anniversary. Oh. It was just somewhere to go.
Nice.
Just somewhere to go that we could bring Bubsy. The baby, I mean, not actual Bubsy. I don't just
in
bring
3D.
I don't just bring copies of Bubsy the Bobcat with me on holiday willy nilly. I don't know if I've ever played Bubsy the Bobcat or any variant of it. Definitely not going to play Bubsy 3D.
What is a bobcat? Is that a kind of wildcat?
Yes.
Right.
I mean, it's just like a small lion or whatever. Wildcats of that scale.
It's bigger than a lynx, or
it's probably similar to a lynx. Maybe a bit smaller.
Smaller than a.
What are the wildcats called that basically do just look like cats but real fluffy?
Palace cats. Those ones.
Palace cats.
Those ones are the really fluffy ass ones that have weird eyes. Like they have not cat eyes, and it looks weird.
Oh, what? Not vertical slits, or
I think they might still be slightly weirdly shaped, but not like as obviously as normal cat's eyes. But they're super fluffy.
Super floof. I mean, there's a picture of like some sort of wild cat on one of my like desktops on rotation because it's a kitty in a tree. But it's not. It's a wild cat. It's not a regular cat. But I don't know what kind. Palace cat sounds rad though.
Yeah, it's a cool name.
Floof. Can't handle the floof. Yeah, so we're down there having hot tubs, smoking these meats accidentally.
Accidentally smoking meats.
Accidentally, yeah. Because so the place we were staying was really lovely, and it had a sort of a sort of barbecue, like when you see when it's like a Christmas market on, and they have like the German sausage tent somewhere where they've got like one of those massive hanging barbecues. Yeah. Like, so I basically had like a miniature version of that here. So it was like this little hanging like barbecue thing over a fire pit, and it's like, and there was wood available, and we were like, oh well, let's just barbecue some meats. Except we neglected to get like charcoal or anything, so it was a wood fire that I'm there cooking some burgers over. Those things went black as hell, not through like burning, through just raw wood smoke. Just going,
yeah,
it was a bit weird. It was a bit weird. I think Noam was very polite and said, "These are fine," and I'm like,
"Are they?" Yeah, perhaps not the optimum way to cook these things.
No, wood barbecuing clearly difficult. I mean, we should have just put sausages on sticks, right, and dipped them in the charcoal. That's the correct way to do it. Like, even in Scouts, like, how did we do it? Were we using charcoal barbecues in, like, sawn in half oil drums? Was that how it was done? I can't even remember if we used wood or, like, proper chars.
Yeah, I feel like that might have been some wood.
Yeah. Toasted a few s'mores. Well, actually, what makes it a s'more? Does it elevate from marshmallow to s'more when you like? Do you have to do something to make it a s'more?
You need like graham crackers, right, to make a s'more.
Oh, right. Is it like you have to melt it a bit and then squish it? Okay, so it wasn't. Yeah, it was just marshmallow.
I believe that's the thing because we don't have graham crackers, do we?
No.
Yeah, unless you import them.
Well, there probably is some sort of cracker that's like
equivalent.
Yeah, we just don't
call
it that.
Like Ryvita. That'd be so horrible.
Oh, that might not be terrible because you'd be like, it'd make the Ryvita much less bland by just having a ton of sugar on it.
Maybe is that the same thing? I think graham crackers are bland, aren't they? Flavourless. Like, I think they're similar. Maybe they're a bit
probably not as
Ryvita.
Like
Ryvita is gross.
Grainy.
I actually don't think Ryvita is bland. It is like not tasty. Like it's a negative. It's not a neutral. It's a negative.
You think Ryvita and Twiglet are related in some way, or
not really?
No.
Wait, what's wrong with a Twiglet?
No, I'm not saying
you're throwing shade at my Twiglet buddies.
No.
The only thing wrong with a Twiglet is the Marmite. But
But what would a Twiglet be without the Marmite?
But they did that, right? They used to do like Twiglets that were slightly different flavour. I'm sure it was like Marmite with something else, but like or some other similar thing. But those were way more delicious than regular ass Twiglets.
I think it's intrinsic to Twiglets.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of the few like Marmite adjacent products I will actually eat.
You're not a Marmiter.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Far from it. So Twiglets, and the only other thing I can think of that I've liked that is a Marmite-ish product was Marmite chocolate, which was actually pretty good.
I haven't tried that. Does that still exist? Was that?
It was like one of those like novelty gifts. Yeah. I got it for Noam because she likes Marmite. And I very much do not. So we never have Marmite in the house, and it's like, here, have some. Let's combine Marmite and chocolate. and she did not like it.
No. Oh, interesting.
But I was like, this is acceptable.
Is she a Marmite purist? Maybe I am. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah,
Marmite and toast is good.
Do you blend it with cheese? Will you go that far?
No, I just have Marmite on toast. And you have to be careful not to over butter because the kind of combination of Marmite and the butter or margarine is weird. You want like minimal margarine and then quite a bit of Marmite. Not too much, obviously, but enough that it's not like... I don't like it when it smears around with the butter. Do you know what I mean? It has to be like a proper spread of Marmite.
I mean, that's not how I do it, but I'm not using Marmite, technically. I'm using yeast extract.
Oh, right. What do you do? Yeah. Do you put that straight on the bread, on the toast, without the...
I have a ton of butter on my ones.
The butter, okay.
And then like a
thin layer.
Probably equal amount of
yeast.
It's still pretty thick.
Okay.
Not like my sister used to do it. My sister used to do it with like an incredibly thick, like literally a layer of butter, and then the tiniest smidge of Marmite, and then she'd like stir it into the butter.
That's exactly the opposite of what I want. Yeah.
I don't know, that might be acceptable. Just the hint of the Marmite flavour. I think that was kind of why I liked that Marmite chocolate, because the chocolate was stronger than the Marmite in that mix. So it's like a chili chocolate, right? You don't want the chili to be the dominant flavour. You just want that little bite of something else.
I guess. I don't know what's the best thing to combine with chocolate. I mean,
mint.
There's a lot of choice. What is
mint? It's always mint.
I don't know. What about orange, man? Orange is pretty strong.
Orange is too variable. Like chocolate orange, great. When you got those little like orange flavored pieces, not so great.
Oh no, I wouldn't have like. Yeah, it's got to be blended into the chocolate, right? You want like a Terry's kind of situation going on.
Yes, I mean, like that is the one. It's like that's good, but like too many different versions of that are not good.
Was
it Trios? Do you remember Trios?
Trio.
Yeah, they didn't do an orange version of those? That was pretty good. They did a mint version as well, but I remember they did orange arrows for a bit, and that was vaguely acceptable, but not quite same level.
Well, I mean, mint arrows are maybe the one example of mint not being so good. But I don't think
mint arrows are pretty sweet.
They're okay, but they're not as good as other mint chocolate versions.
They're not like a Viscount. That's more of a biscuit, I suppose, but that's pretty good.
I'm inclined to agree, though, that overall mint is probably the best combo with chocolate.
Maybe mint's the safest
if you like
combo.
Raisins / nuts, that's always fine.
They're okay. Yeah.
But you could argue...
Coconut. Coconut's pretty good.
Strawberry cream.
I really like coconut. Like, the trouble with this is, like, it's the definition of, like, are we talking about a chocolate that is then flavoured, or are we talking about things in chocolate? Because like fruit and nut is really just fruit and nut in chocolate. Yeah, it's not like fruit flavoured chocolate.
No, it's true.
I suppose you're right. Yeah.
Salted caramel.
So, yeah, salted caramel is lovely, but do they like? Is that really chocolate?
Yeah.
Like if they did, I think it is possible to get a salted chocolate.
Yeah,
and I think I've had that, and I remember it being pretty good.
I mean, we ate a shit ton of chocolate-covered pretzels. And they're salted.
Oh my god, yes.
I mean, yeah, it's a winner.
Oh,
well, this is a good conversation.
Yeah, we're getting the food in.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, now I need to go hunt down some pretzel flips.
I know.
You've done that too recently for this to be a dramatic thing.
Oh, I know, because they came back, right? And it's just like,
they are incredible, though.
They are pretty good.
It's true.
Not their stupid new flavors, whatever the pink one is.
No.
That's gross.
The classic.
Yeah, and they haven't brought back the white chocolate like pretzels because they have it's white fudge now, which isn't the same thing.
No.
And it's like those white chocolate pretzel flips. Oh, you guys like white chocolate? Is that controversial within this group?
It's fine most of the time.
Really.
Again, maybe
I have no problem with people liking it. It's just maybe not for me.
I think it's like really orange, sweet. Too variable.
Yeah,
it can be pretty.
It can be good. It can be real gross.
But then all chocolate can be pretty variable.
Well, sure.
Yeah,
but white. Yeah, I do love a bit of white chocolate.
It can definitely be very sickly if you get the wrong. Yeah.
Oh, but some of that's like the best. Like. Okay, where does Milky Bar sit on the white chocolate scale? Is that like perfectly down the middle? Like this is your target
I would say
white chocolate.
Slightly above average.
Yeah. Okay.
It's lucky they're not very big Milky Bars, right? Because you could definitely be sick after you end up one as an adult.
No, Milky Bars were always disappointingly small.
And then they got thinner. Shrinkflation.
Like I remember Kinder Eggs being pretty nice because that's like chocolate and white chocolate, right? It's been.
I'm never sure whether that is like that might just be a colouring. I'm not sure I could ever to tell if there was a distinct like flavour difference between that. Because I mean, it's a thin ass layer anyway. Yeah. It's not like it's two thick ass layers of chocolate that are different colours. But like, is it actually different chocolate or is it just a colour?
I mean, the last time I had a Kinder Egg was like 8 years ago at my stag night, right? That was the last time I've eaten anything. Oh, I've had a Bueno since, but that doesn't count.
No, right? That's basically totally different.
That's hazelnut, right?
Can't eat that.
I mean, hazelnut chocolate. What is Nutella? Is that technically chocolate and hazelnut, or is there no chocolate involved?
No, I don't know. Obviously, I don't eat it, but I'm pretty sure, surely it's chocolatey, isn't it?
I don't know. Like,
it tastes like chocolate.
Yeah, you would say it's like chocolate, but like, what? It's like, does it involve any actual cocoa? Is the question.
I don't actually know. Nutella's lovely. That's the kind of eat with a spoon job. That
no,
is.
No,
Wrong. So wrong.
Keep that on bread.
Right. So now that we've established that, what else is going on? You got any kitchen grousing? Not that's the wrong rhyme.
Kitchen grousing.
Combine it. I mean, we were just talking about the buttering the toast situations. Is there any more controversy over
what is the situation?
We got a new bath mat and it just stinks. It's got that horrible plastic smell, and it's just sitting in the bathroom, stinking in the bathroom continuously. It's like, this has got to wear off soon, right?
So it's plastic. Like,
that, like rubbery crap that bath mats are made of.
It's got that sort of like...
I mean, bath mat as in the one you put in the bath, not...
Oh, the one you put in, yeah.
Not next to the bath.
It's got that sort of like almost petroleum musk to it, but not quite that potent. Do you know what I mean? It's not got that...
Yeah, kinda. I mean, you know the smell if you smell it. It's like a very specific plastic that it's made of. It's like, oh yeah, that's the bath mat smell.
I don't understand why my one gets... You can wash it in the washing machine or whatever.
Right.
But I don't understand why... I mean, why does it get so dirty?
Why does it get gross?
Why does it get gross when it's being basically cleaned like every day
it's got
with soapy water?
Well,
like, why is it
it shouldn't be soapy when you get out of the shower, right? Or
it kind of goes all over the... I don't know. Maybe I'm not being efficient but I tend to wash the soap off my body onto
I guess at a
like
certain
soapy
point,
water denature horribly.
Well, at a certain point, like, the dirt is off you and onto the bath mat.
But it should go down the drain, right? No.
Yeah, you should be clean before you step on it, but I guess it's still just general.
No, we're talking about the
other
bath inside the bath that stops it slipping.
Oh,
yeah.
Right, sorry, I thought like because I haven't used a bath. I haven't used a bath mat like that for like decades. It's like, for me, it's just like because showers, I suppose. I've had shower cubicles.
Showers better, obviously. But I had to have a choice. I've got
like to me, a bath mat is like the mat that's outside the shower.
Yeah, same. Like, that's what I thought when Zach first said that, and then
I probably should actually. I mean, I don't use it; it's there for other people. But like, I probably should start using it because, as I think I've mentioned this before. But like,
what do you do then?
Because I'm tall and our bath is like. It's one of those annoying ones where it's sloped at both ends, which makes it way worse for me because it's just like I can't. I either have to sit up or lay back with my knees sticking up. It's just like, this doesn't work either way. But then when I'm trying to sit up, right, that's when I need the mat because you gradually slide downwards towards the knee position. It's like I can't hold this pose because of the shape of this goddamn bath.
You can't beat a shower cubicle, honestly.
No, I would definitely choose one. I don't know why they put. I guess they build because my flat's built in 2017, like it's new,
right.
But new flat or whatever, and they obviously put a bath in because some people like a bath, and then you have to shower over it. I guess. Yeah,
it's almost like a necessity, isn't it? There has to be one bathroom with a bath.
Why? I guess apparently there has to be, but I would have been happy with just a.
Well, I guess
it's like I think you're right, but
you probably need it for children.
Oh yeah.
I guess that's why.
But even then, you can sort of bath them in a bowl, right? Like
for some period, yes.
I guess that's what it's there for. Yeah.
But then you can by the time they're standing, you can probably shower them. Probably.
Maybe that
not
probably
solo. You won't be able to leave them in the bath. But
I don't know. That would be probably kind of unpleasant to have because. You don't notice it when you're, a full-size adult, but the water hits different when you're down at ground level.
It hits different.
It hits different, literally.
I guess it's got more gravity, so it might be
accelerated
faster,
more or whatever, and spread out further.
And you get splashed back off the floor, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think that is good to think out because I bought this flat, so if it was me, then I would probably change it for a shower cubicle. But if I was going to sell it, maybe it would be worth having a bath just because people expect a bath, I guess.
Yeah, probably.
For some reason.
Yeah. Well, it's I used to have this argument about en suites and cloakrooms that aren't really cloakrooms; they're actually downstairs loos. It's you don't. I'd be quite happy with not having an ensuite and, having a room in which I poop next door to my partner. It's it's there's something I never use the loo in our ensuite.
No.
Like, it's just not a thing I do. Well,
Yeah.
okay, I do sometimes, but like generally, if it's the middle of the night, I will go elsewhere.
Yeah.
I will increase the distance.
Yeah. I totally get that. Yeah.
Oh man, you'd have loved this place we stayed in when we were in Hampshire. So basically, it was this little wagon, right? But the loo that was actually built into the place was literally right behind the bed. So like as little distance as possible from head to other person's arse. But like there wasn't really much of a wall in between either, so it was like it was basically had a plank of wood like in between, and the door, it wasn't a proper door, it was a slider. So like audio would have been a problem. Fortunately, this place had a additional loo.
Okay.
But it was you had to go outside, and it was in like it basically had an outhouse attached to the hot tub.
To the hot tub. So if you got the shit real quick like from the hot tub, you can just jump out straight to the toilet.
You really could, yeah. And you had to go to this like hot tub like area, which was covered. It was really quite nice. But then like go open these saloon doors to the so like between the loo and the hot tub, there's no barrier either. So it's like you wouldn't want to do if you were both in the hot tub, say, or like you wouldn't want to jump into that one. You'd have to go. It's kind of weird when you think about it, right? Because you always have to take the longer route.
Either way, just to get far enough away. Yeah.
But it was kind of fun. It was kind of fun, at least in summer, at 4:00 in the morning, doing a run across outside to go pee, just to avoid mild toilet embarrassment
and get a whole bunch of bugs.
Probably there was a bit of an ant infestation at one point on the route, so bring some ants into bed with us,
Makes sense.
Ants. But it was right. I enjoyed it anyway.
Alrighty, should we do the news?
I mean, we could.
Yeah, we could talk about video games.
We haven't even. I haven't even had the chance to say this is a podcast about video games.
It is. It's a podcast about video games. And there's some things going on in the world of video games.
There are. Gamescom happened this week.
Yeah.
And it's probably still happening, actually. I forget how long Gamescom lasts, but yeah, ONL was...
what does com mean?
I don't know, it's German, right? So it's... what does com... Does com mean anything on its own in German, or is it just a name?
Must be short
well, I
mean,
it would still be an abbreviation, I'm sure, even if it was a German, but not one that I would recognise.
Yeah.
Conference.
Why isn't it Spiel or Com or something? Or
Spielcom?
Something more German.
Is com like the equivalent of con? Like, is it just like is it a convention?
Yeah, maybe a convention, yeah.
Because it's like bigger than E3, right? It's bigger than E3 was.
Really?
Like in terms of floor space and in terms of like people there, it's
crazy.
like it's actually the world's biggest video game show.
Oh, okay.
But not really known as much for its like news. It's not really its thing. And then I guess Jeff Keighley is trying a little bit with ONL, but truth be told, it wasn't a particularly interesting show for me. So I've got a few notes. The first being Bulletstorm's back.
Lol.
Of all things, People Can Fly still aren't quite done with Bulletstorm, and they're making a VR version of it.
So you can kill with skill in VR.
But it looks to me like from the trailer, like it's actually just the full bloody game. Like it's all of Bulletstorm just presented in VR, which is okay, interesting, but also what's the locomotion solution there? Like, is it going to be queeze-inducing, like you have full locomotion, or is it a teleport, or is it probably one of those? Because I don't know, like that hasn't really worked for me thus far. Like locomotion first-person games. Yeah, that's not really a thing for me. But anyway, I just thought that was fun. It's like we're not done with Bulletstorm, guys. Yeah, but still in VR land. I showed you guys the trailer for this a second ago. Yeah, caught my interest a little bit. I never played the original Seventh Guest back in the day, like a classic PC point and clicky kind of thing. or was it even a point and click, or was it like a walk around the house kind of thing, or am I thinking Alone in the Dark? I'm probably thinking Alone in the Dark. I don't really have much exposure to the original Seventh Guest, so it's interesting that it's coming back and as a VR experience, but they're doing some technically interesting stuff with their like live action acting, but in a 3D space. And I don't know, that kind of like mystery game does seem like a perfect fit for VR, right? Could be good. Could be good. Let's hope it has some longevity, though, because I wouldn't necessarily want to have another just 2.5 hour experience like
that's it. Yeah.
Like, you know, like Psychonauts. As much as I enjoyed Rhombus of Ruin, it's like only 2.5 hours. It's kind of hard to justify a purchase.
Sure.
Even with like VR tax and all that stuff. I don't know. I'm gonna pay attention to that. Keep an eye out. Delta Force is coming back. Everyone's favorite simulation.
Does it have voxels?
It didn't obviously have voxels.
That'd be so good.
It looked a lot like a Call of Duty game, you know. If I'm being honest,
okay.
But I literally am only mentioning this because hey, Delta Force.
Yeah,
it's not a phrase I thought I'd say again in the context of a modern video game. Did any of us ever play like any of the actual Delta Force games? Or did we get beyond the demo?
I just remember it being really weird because it's like you could make infinite like landscapes made of voxels for like very cheap, and then you had to put polygonal buildings stuff in it, and there was very little actual detail in terms of. So it was like these huge landscapes and like almost no detail.
Just fields. Yeah, they like just endless fields.
Yeah, it was weird.
But yeah, interesting that's coming back. I didn't do my research to figure out what kind of game it actually is. It's probably a battle royale or some kind of shooter like that. But probably. How do you like drifting horses?
Who
like power sliding a horse? The developers of Black Desert have got you covered because they're making a new game called Crimson Desert that apparently isn't an MMO this time. It's actually kind of a Witcher-looking thing, but less serious than The Witcher because it's got like it's got a hint of the Final Fantasy 16s about it, you know, in that style of. This thing looks mad. Like it's just the things that my notes like have like looks insane. Far too much camera shake. The camera seemed like to be just wobbling in the entire time. I was feeling queasy watching this trailer. Like there's far too much camera. I don't know if it's just because they had intentionally like clipped just the shots that had like stuff going on, and so the camera was shaking because of what he was doing. But it looked a bit too much. I hope there's an option to turn that off. I also note absolutely no deserts in this trailer, so it's called Crimson Desert. But I don't know
how many deserts there were in Black Desert. I
don't know. Yeah. Have they just changed the definition of a desert? Is there some other meaning for it?
I mean, you could have a wasteland and call it a desert. It doesn't necessarily have to be sand.
Interesting.
But that's not how it appeared, right? Like
no, I guess not. It looked like just, you know, sort of standard Witcher-like environment, you know, like green hills and grass medieval and trees Europe, and that kind of thing. It looked pretty. Combat looks pretty cool, and it looked like it kind of like reminded me of like, okay, what if they took The Witcher and gave it a little bit of the Yakuza flair to it? You know, just make it a game-ass game, but set in that kind of environment. So, it might be cool. Might be cool. And my final note from the show is they had another trailer for Sonic Superstars, and my opinion of this is decreasing because they don't seem to show an awful lot of actual gameplay of this thing, and they seem to be really they show a little bit, but they seem to be really doubling down on the fact this is a 4-player co-op experience. Like you can finally play Sonic in co-op, and it's like, well, fine, I can play it. We've been able to do that for a while in 2-player, kinda.
Yes, but that's the problem, isn't it? It's the kinda.
And if they're implying that now it actually
works somehow.
Yeah, well, it was never like. I mean, it was an okay experience, right? It's a way for someone to at least tag along.
Was it though?
Okay, fine. I mean, you were the one that mostly tailsed when we did it. So.
Well, sure, but I think everyone knows what the Tails experience is, which is like not being on the screen most of the time, and then maybe you help with one boss fight.
Yeah, so I wonder how this on Earth works. It's like, is everyone getting their own split screen to deal with it, or is it?
Well, I mean, if you consider like all the co-op platformers recently, like the Disney one, the Mickey Mouse one, and
to a
like
lesser extent,
Mario and like Rayman and whatnot. It's
right.
like theoretically that would be how it should work, but that doesn't seem to match with Sonic.
Whoever gets behind just gets bubbled and brought back.
Yeah, but like that does like. It only works in those cases because they're slow platformers, not speed platformers.
Yeah, I don't quite see it. Also, like I don't know, they showed some gameplay of like the first of one of the opening stages, and I didn't really like its vibe. It looked fine, but not enticing. If that makes sense. It's on my fantasy team, so I'm a little bit bitter about this. It's like it seems to be looking worse and worse. Also, that game is like full price. Like it's not like Sonic Mania style, like digital only, you know, in the middle of the road, nice pricing. It's like this seems to be like a £50 game, and it's like they need to justify that somehow. I mean, they put out what Sonic Origins was like a £30 collection or something, and that felt a bit rich for what is arguably not a brilliant collection of the early Sonic games.
That's true.
So yeah, it's not filling me with hope. They need to show something. They need to give me a reason. 4-player co-op is not that reason, and if that's all they've got, wait for a sale. Top tips. That's that's pretty much all I pulled from Gamescom. There's been some other stuff going along, alongside it. That Dan and I watched the latest Like a Dragon Gaiden trailer last night. The Man Who Erased His Name. That game looks fantastic. That has just got me written all over it, which means I've got to catch up on the 5 or 6 Like a Dragon Yakuza games I am behind.
That's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the live action hostess stuff.
It's a bit creepy. But as I say, it's not the first time they did it. There was a little bit of that in Kiwami 2. It wasn't positioned as the hostess game in Kiwami 2. In Kiwami 2, it was like they called it a photography side quest kind of thing, where it's like, oh, this is about you learning to be a photographer. We'll put you in a room with a attractive lady. Huh? And you get to photograph her, right? It's all above board. It was not that interesting in fairness, gameplay wise. But yeah, it's a little bit creepy. The Japanese. But yeah, the rest of this game looks wild. Like with the Spider-Man abilities, like in some places, he has some sort of web slinger or something. Where because he's like a secret agent now or something.
Naturally, that's if that gives you Spider-Man powers. Like
yeah.
And glowing blue. Like
it should be noted that this is being in theory being released before the other Like a Dragon game that's coming, like Infinite Wealth, which I think is Like a Dragon 8 technically, like it's the numbered one. But like the Gaiden in this case isn't a remake. It is very much a brand new thing. And it looks lovely, right? In its sort of like not too real kind of way. Like the visuals just look great. It just looks great, top to bottom. Get hype. Love those games. Love RGG. That's pretty much all I got for stuff happening. I mean, there's that Dark Forces remaster.
Yeah.
You know?
There's a lot of remasters at the moment. Well,
almost all of Quake 2. Oh yeah, almost all of them made by Night Dive. They're just like they're putting in work.
Doing good job. Good jobs.
Good gerbs.
Great job.
Great job. Game trailer news from me.
What else we got news-wise?
We've got legal situationing.
Oh, Activision.
Yeah, so
Activision.
Microsoft have a plan to win over the CMA. So they have made a proposal to the... What's CMA stand for again? Is it like
Competition and Markets Authority.
That's it, yeah. That sounds right. They've made a new proposal regarding the cloud business side of the Microsoft and Activision deal that apparently the CMA were most worried about in the end, and is what's causing the deal to be blocked. And their solution is, fine, we will sell the streaming rights of all the Activision games, all Activision Blizzard games, to Ubisoft.
For the streaming rights.
For the streaming rights, yeah. So that means that in theory that Microsoft can't host Activision Blizzard games on xCloud. Presumably unless they buy some permissions off Ubisoft. So are they
Ubisoft anyway?
Yeah, that's the weird part of this. So it's like, I guess they needed a large publisher that would be willing to spend the money, because they have to actually buy those rights. They can't just give them to them. But maybe that purchase is like $1 or something. Like, I don't actually know. But presumably give them to someone who actually has the ability to do something with them.
Because otherwise it's an empty.
Yeah, it just goes to nothing, and it just means, well, we won't put these games on the marketplace. It's like, is that what you want? Is that what you want, CMA? That we actually stop people from buying these at all? So I guess they have to give someone the opportunity to put them up, and maybe Ubisoft is a smart choice, because I actually don't know what Ubisoft has in terms of a streaming platform. I mean, they have put out cloud versions of some of their games for Switch. So maybe they do have some solution behind the scenes. So maybe you'll end up with, I don't know, Modern Warfare 3 cloud version on your Switch.
It's like a thin client on the Switch.
Yeah, something like that. So anyway, this and it's a deal that apparently lasts for 15 years. So it's a bit like, I guess, you having the Star Wars game rights like EA did. Like you have it for a certain period of time. So these streaming rights will be sold for a 15-year period, and then Microsoft gets them back, I guess.
If Ubisoft survives 15 years.
I mean, they will.
You sure about that?
Yeah, I think
the way
so.
they're going at the moment.
It's fine. Ubisoft have cancelled all their unprofitable games.
Cancelled all their goddamn games.
Except Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Well, as far as we know.
They never cancel Michelle Ansel's games. They just stop working on them. So the other slight wrinkle in this is that the CMA has decided not to look at it as a revision to the previous deal. They are specifically looking at this as our decision was final on that last deal. We're going to look at this as a totally brand new. So basically, theoretically, the CMA is looking into this, starts from scratch, and they look into the whole thing from the beginning again.
Well, that was kind of what we said about how we were talking about, like, if the deadline passes for them to make the original deal, but then they don't, but then they continue making the deal, they kind of inherently have to analyze it as a new deal, because that's just like, it is a new deal at that point.
Yeah. But I think the deadline is like October or something, and it's like for other, I don't know what, in what region or something that deadline is imposed or something. So the CMA have got to get their skates on.
Well, that's kind of, I guess.
Well, kind of, yeah. But what if it feels kind of unfair if the CMA drag their heels and don't have their decision ready by the time the deadline passes? And it's
they have a decision on that original deal.
On the original deal, yeah, but they're proposing this new one as a replacement. And in theory, it's only a Microsoft concern, right? Activision don't care, so it's not like they have to renegotiate.
I'm sure Activision don't care about anything at this point. I'm sure they're just hoping that this will get done so they can have money again.
It depends where that money's all going. Bobby Kotick, probably. So screw that guy. So that's what's going on with that. Mm-hmm. More news to come.
Stay tuned.
It means we might be done soon, guys. We might be done.
With the Eternal news story.
Yeah.
I mean, we did the whole Bethesda one, and then now that went through. So
that was pretty painless.
Yeah, guys. Activision a bit more curious. What will the next acquisition be?
Sony.
Sony, yeah.
That would never happen. There's no way they would get that past competition. Finally, PlayStation have given that Project Q a name. It's called the PlayStation Portal. You want to stream games to your hands as long as you're inside your property?
Do I? Not really, but okay.
I guess some people can. Well, pay $200 and you can do that. Have a Switch, but tether to your house
on the loo.
Yes, you can.
Your loo that's twinned with.
Your loo has been twinned with your PlayStation.
With your PlayStation.
So they're claiming it's like powered by some new technology called PlayStation Link, but PlayStation's kind of had this stuff for a while.
So what's this better over like the old stream to your PSP from your PlayStation 3?
I mean, they're kind of branding it that way, but it's probably similar, or at least an evolution. Because you're right, that was the first thing, right? PS3 streaming to your PSP, which, in fairness, never really worked great.
It's 2 generations ago, though. I mean,
yeah, it was interesting, but it never really worked that well. But I think that offered you a way of doing that over the internet
remotely,
as well. Yeah, which is not what they're suggesting here. This is not internet. This controller is not internet aware. It is connecting directly to your PlayStation.
Weird.
They've also specifically said that it won't work with games you stream on your PlayStation. So if you're not locally playing a game on your PlayStation, but you're streaming it off PlayStation Plus Premium, you then can't chain that and stream it also from your PlayStation to your portal.
Is that technically too much latency? Or
I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. I guess you're already suffering the fairly large latency hop from a game streaming service, and then adding another latency hop to get the visuals into your hands.
Yeah.
So maybe that's just too much, and they just don't want the press for it.
Or maybe it would look terrible because it's being like double compressed.
Possibly, yeah. But then the other argument is $200 device. Maybe this should have been something that can just work with the streaming service directly.
Well, yes, but I mean, like that. I don't know if $200 is exactly
not super expensive.
Yeah, not for like all the other Nvidia Shields or whatever.
Given that it's like a $70, $80 DualSense with everything that thing can do, with a screen stuck in the middle. It's probably not that bad. I haven't gone and looked up the detail about whether that screen is touch. Do the DualSenses have a touchpad still?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the screen probably has to fill that role, so it probably has to be a touch screen, but probably not like actually touching bits of the screen. It's probably fudging it like the pad does.
Well, unless they go back to the Vita style and have it be back touch.
Right, yeah. Back touch. What an interesting idea that was. Only effectively used in Tearaway, I think.
Yep.
Still an odd product that I don't really understand. But
the Vita?
No,
or the Portal.
The Portal, yeah. Vita makes a lot more sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, if you listen to if you're a Giant Bomb listener and you listen to their podcast, like Jeff Grubb has talked about, he uses his Stream Deck as like his primary way to play games.
Sure,
and so he's a handheld guy. So having one of these in his house makes sense, I guess. And I suppose if you've got kids that are always using the TV, then you can still use your console. But
yeah, people watching Netflix, you can.
Yeah, but then if you're, I don't know, really into that tech and really, so you probably have another room with a PC in it, and you could probably just hook your PS5 to your monitor. It's probably fine, right?
Well, if you only want to use it like that, you're not going to be hauling that back and forth every time you want to use it on your real TV.
No, true. But then you'd move it and leave it there for a while, I guess. And it's like, well, my kids always use the TV.
Steam Link box equivalent, that you can stream the PS5 content to a monitor.
To another TV. Yeah.
Anyway.
Maybe they will do that. Maybe this is a test the water.
That could make sense. Interesting.
I wish Steam, I always wish Steam Link just managed to sort themselves out and get that latency down. It's probably a very hard challenge because I would love that to work here. I really would. So I could stream stuff from my PC to my TV. And there is a Steam Link app on my TV. Like there is one just available for the Samsung system. But it's for action games, it's always just been that little bit too latent, the odd audio glitch here and there that you notice, and it's not perfect enough over Wi-Fi at least. And I've got pretty good Wi-Fi, but not like the best Wi-Fi. So you'd have to wire in, I guess, to get any kind of decency out of that. But still. And also my PC is a little bit aging out, so maybe the encoder delay could be at fault, my hardware not being top spec. But then Steam Link was about way before my system was outdated. Anyway, I don't know. I wish that stuff worked. It's just not good enough. It's never been good enough just yet. And I'm yet to be sold on it as a useful solution. That's the news. Unless you got anything else? What else is happening?
Well,
Zach always got some extra.
We've got some like weird news of like a weird advert I saw that just seems very confusing. It's another classic example of like random company crossovers. So if I tell you what one of the companies is, try and guess what the other one is.
Okay.
So the company that's doing the big company, I guess, the big half of this is Aston Martin.
Who are they partnering with?
Who are they partnering with?
Okay. Is it video game related?
Yes, obviously. This is a podcast about
Fortnite.
Close, but no.
Rocket League.
Nope, that would be too obvious.
No.
Also, they've already done that.
No. Oh, have they? Oh, yeah, of course. The
James Bond car
thing. Yeah.
And this isn't James Bond related?
No, it's just Aston Martin's.
It's just Aston Martin's.
Presumably a game that there isn't already Aston Martins
like
in.
Forza or Gran Turismo.
Yes, it's not a car game.
Or F1.
No. Aston Martin.
City Skylines.
No, although that would be kind of cool. You'd never be able to see them. That wouldn't be a very good deal for Aston Martin.
No, I guess not. Well, unless you can specifically build an Aston Martin dealership.
Factory. Yeah. Build the whole factory.
Kerbal Space Program.
That would also be a bit...
Oh, what? Like an Elon Musk thing,
put
right?
it in a rocket.
Aston into space.
No, the answer, in fact, somehow, how the hell did they come to this deal, is PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds.
Okay. That's I see what you mean by it being not quite Fortnite now.
Yeah. Like, it doesn't fit their theme at all.
No, it does not.
Like, all the cars that are in that game already are like junk-ass Eastern European, like, shipmobiles. Right. And then you've just got these goddamn Aston Martins suddenly.
This is like PUBG or something.
Yeah.
Equivalent.
I mean, that is that.
That is PUBG.
It is PUBG.
Yeah.
PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
All right, PUBG, sorry. I've forgotten what it means.
Yeah. I think even officially, don't they just refer to it as PUBG now most of the time?
Yeah,
like,
probably.
The full name is kind of...
But, like, also...
I didn't even know it was called that.
Also, this is one of those situations where, like, those cars are going to blow up, because that's kind of the whole point of this game.
Yeah, so they would have had to have got, like, a good licensing deal in order to do that.
Yeah.
Aston Martin would have had to agree to that, which is often... I think even now, still quite the limitation for video games that have, like, proper cars.
But yes, that's just an incredibly weird cross. Like, it's not even like PUBG's that relevant any longer.
No, that's what I'm thinking.
It would make sense. It would make more sense if it was in Fortnite. Right?
Yes,
they could totally get away with that.
Yeah, you could do stylish stunts and it would be perfectly normal, rather than like this weird, far too realistic looking game where you just never got sports cars driving around.
Put everything in Fortnite. Oh, it was quite funny. Last time I played Fortnite with Kippers, this is like Fortnite still has a negative connotation around for some gamers. It's like I actually think that game's pretty fun now that they've put no build in it. It's I think it's quite enjoyable. But like whilst in the middle of playing it, Jammy could be heard in the background going, "Oh, what you guys doing?" And Kippers was like Fortnite, and she was like, "Ew." Put everything in Fortnite. Fortnite's fine.
And then the other...
I've come around to Fortnite. Just don't let me build stuff.
The other small bit of news, which is sort of games I haven't been playing, but I guess sort of games I played recently, they finally started talking about the Factorio expansion after not talking about it for the last, 2 years or whatever, which they specifically said they weren't going to talk for, a long time in their, blog post or whatever.
And now they are.
But now they've got to the point where they're like, we're going to talk about it. And to no one's surprise, it's basically just the space exploration mod, but real.
Right.
because everyone knew that's what it was going to be.
Had they teased at all that it was going to be that?
Well, I mean, they hired the dev from space exploration, and previously the theoretical end game of Factorio after you launched the rocket was going to have a space phase.
I see, right.
Which is kind of what space exploration was based on. Like, the concept was taken into the mod.
We like what you're doing, but you can do more if it's not a mod.
Yeah, basically.
Okay. I mean, that's fair enough, I guess.
Is that good? Are you actually excited about that, given you've probably played the mod today?
Well, I haven't played the whole mod because it's a goddamn long mod, and that's one of the things they specifically call out is, like, space exploration might take you 500 hours. This would go to, like, make it a normal game.
Right. Normal by Factorio's limits.
Yes. It's going to be possible for normal people to finish this expansion rather than space exploration, which is ridiculous.
Define normal.
Well, I mean, they said, like, in non-speedrunning mode, like a normal experienced player of Factorio should be able to beat the expansion in like 80 hours, which is like twice as long as what the normal Factorio estimate would have been, I guess.
Yeah, that's still long, isn't it?
But I mean, that makes sense, I guess. If you're going to, they're trying to like double the content, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like space exploration, but like toned down. So there's only going to be like 4 planets. But the way it's different is like the 4 planets are going to be like more specifically designed rather than just like the way space exploration does it, where everything is the same because it's all just using the same random generation, and it's limited by what it can do with the engine of Factorio anyway.
Yeah.
The enemies are always going to be biters and that kind of thing. But now with the mod version, you can have, well, they slightly teased it, but they haven't shown any specifics, but it's like there's different enemies on different planets and that kind of thing. Like the actual gameplay might be different on different planets.
That's exciting.
So yeah,
depending on how much they can mutate it anyway.
Yeah, and also with that, they've kind of also said that like because of this new stuff they're putting in, the actual like engine of Factorio is going to get access to these new things as well. So maybe mods will then become like more advanced as well.
Yeah. So he's actually extending the API to use
essentially,
terms. Yeah.
Because apparently it's not exactly going to be like this in Factorio, well, kind of, but basically the expansion is going to be like a mod, but like kind of everything is like a mod in Factorio because even the base game loads like a mod. Like it loads an engine underlaying thing and then loads the base game mod. But that's just like how the mod loader loads any mods. So then the expansion is just going to be another thing in that list that it loads. So the base game is still going to get the engine enhancements even without the DLC, essentially.
Okay.
But yeah, apparently that's still another year away. They've got a whole more year of work still to do.
Wow.
But now they're going to start posting about it.
Right.
So, teasers.
Dev diaries.
Yes. But that's good to hear that they are actually still exist. It's been quite a quiet period. Speaking of, I guess more slightly, speaking of things that doesn't seem to exist any longer, I have no idea what's going on with the Dysosphere program shit.
Oh, right.
They've gone real silent about their efforts to make the combat update.
Did that game come out of early access?
No. God damn it. This is another game I don't actually know whether it's early access or not. I don't think so. I think it is still early access. And this combat update has been like, they've gone pretty quiet about it for a long time. I mean, they've still been posting, and you can still see the work that they've done, which is a lot. Like, there's a lot of, you have to do a lot for making a whole like enemy faction in a game that didn't have any enemies up to this point.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, I bet that's quite the undertaking, especially if you're like 1 or 2 guys or however big the team is.
Yeah, but they haven't been saying as much as they had before about their blog post updates, so they've got a bit quieter.
I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, but
if they've got nothing to show, they've got nothing to show. Just maybe occasionally check in and say we're still alive.
But the trouble with that is, of course, that it's the classic problem of like you're working on a thing that people don't necessarily want. Like, it's a factory game. You're meant to be working on, new factory shit, not these whole enemies. Because that's the thing about Factorio, where it's just like, half the people playing that game just turn the enemies off. Because they don't really add that much to the game, because it's a factory game.
Right, yeah, that's what you're there to do, and they're just a nuisance.
But, if they do make it... I mean, if if we assume that they make a better enemy system than Factorio's one, then it will probably, that would be better. Because a lot of things can quite easily be better than Factorio's enemies.
Surely the solution to that is to make the enemies like a farmable resource in some way. Right, so they are a threat for a while, but then you can turn them.
I mean, kind of, because originally that you had Factorio had its thing where the enemies drop an item that you have to use to progress the tech tree or whatever, and everyone hated that because it required you to kill the enemies.
Right,
it was just like.
But there wasn't any way of actually like setting up
automating it. Yeah.
So if they can achieve that, then surely that's a solution. Because then it's just another piece of the puzzle, but it's a different piece of the puzzle.
I mean, I assume because of the way Dice's Fear program is so much about being on different planets, it's going to and about how like there's a lot of travel time between planets in that game. Even once you get the tech to be able to fly between the planets, you're not going to be able to be there to defend your shit personally all the time. So there's got to be decent automating for that.
So. How does DSP work? Does it have like you have a physicality to
it?
You
are a robot.
Okay, so it's not like you can just like strategy game your way and just like go, I need to see what's happening on this other planet and tell these things what to do.
Well, not at the moment. I mean, they could potentially introduce some kind of system to
maybe
remote manage.
You have to tech into that or something. So you can build like a little avatar or something on it.
Yeah, I mean, that is one of the things that Space Exploration, the mod, added to Factorio was like they allowed it so that you could get like satellite view, which was like map view, except you could interact with certain things even if you weren't on the same planet.
Right.
Which then allowed you to, in Factorio's way, control things while you weren't there.
Okay, yeah. Send a request.
Yeah.
HTTP GET.
So yes, we'll see about what's going on with those games eventually, hopefully.
Yeah, interesting. I don't think it's an impossible problem to solve.
Well,
but,
no.
Like it just requires a bit of thought. I think you're right. Like players are into that genre, not for combat. The threat so much, but it could be possible to make the threat.
You have to be able to automate the threat.
Yeah,
that's what Factorio never did. Well. I mean, it allowed you to automate the defenses on some level. Like you could have the artillery trains where you send them to stops and then they blow up anything in range and then they move on to the next stop and that kind of thing. It's you could slightly automate defense, but there was no real like complications to that.
You could argue games like Rift Breaker and things like that double down on the base and the defense aspect of it, but don't have
as much
particular factory stuff. Like pretty much any really. It's like. They've kind of shown that I think you can do it.
Well, there's that game I played the demo of in one of the demo fests a while ago, and they've just gone into early access. There's the game Desynced.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Where it's trying to be more like a combination of factory and RTS. But the factories are much less... They don't do belts. It's like everything is unit based, but you're like programming the unit. So you set up commands and then they run like logic. So you're transporting stuff between individual factories using these units, but then that then extends into the RTS part where you build the units and then reprogram them into the combat side.
Oh, so you're not even directly controlling your units?
No,
like RTS style.
Well, you can, but
maybe the scale is too big.
Maybe you want to automate them because then you won't have to deal with micromanaging the whole.
Oh man, imagine if it was like Supreme Commander scale and you were able to do that level of automation.
Yeah, I mean, I did play that demo, and it's hard to tell from the demo, and it's still early access even now. But
it's been a while, thanks to Zelda and other things I'm playing that since I've checked in with the Cambridge crew and see what they're up to. But like, I should probably check in and see whether they're still playing that Beyond All Reason.
All right, yeah. I keep seeing like videos of that, and I'm like, oh yeah, I should probably try that at some point.
Anecdotally, like someone who doesn't really know a huge amount about Supreme Commander, like I've not played it, but like, or it's going for the TA feel more than the Supreme Commander feel, Total Annihilation, but it feels pretty good. Like it is pretty much that game, but modernized. So I think it's worth your time, Zach, having a little look. If it will run on your machine.
Well, sure.
Well, seeing as we just talked about Factorio, have you been playing it, Zach?
Not so much this past couple of weeks.
What have you been playing?
Oh, well, I feel like not so much of anything, I guess. Factorio's still been there. There was a Rocket League. I actually just randomly jumped into like Banished and Factory Town and stuff. Like, I just jumped around a bunch of random games a little bit.
Banished, man. That's
I went way back on that. It's because for some reason, as usual, as is the case with me, videos of it appeared on my YouTube channel. I was like, oh yeah, Banished.
That's one of our earliest videos, I think, Banished.
Pretty early, yeah.
Check that out on YouTube.
The original Get Hyped for Town.
No, the original Get Hyped for Town, wasn't that like the game actually just called Town?
No, that happened afterwards.
Oh, did it?
That was our reference to that video.
Right.
But anyway, I played a tiny bit of that and then quickly was like, oh yeah, Banished. It's like I like that game, but going back to it, it's like, oh yeah, this is like a really early indie game and there's not really much to this. You can solve the problems of this game real quick.
But it's been superseded, do you think?
Well, actually, I don't know if it has, and that was kind of my problem. That's why I ended up playing it, because I was like, I wanted to play a game like that, and then I was like, but I don't have any other games like that. There's not been anything of this exact like form.
You want it like that, but more complicated and more content.
And every time I go back to Banish, I'm always like, maybe I should install some of the mods. But I think there's a couple of big like overhaul mods for that game, but they've always seemed like super janky and unstable.
Right.
Like I just don't think that game ever got on with mods that well.
What do you think the closest equivalent to it is? Is it like the Settlers? Like,
it is because it's like it's survival resource management in a town setting, where, like, you know, the people are also important.
Are they still making those? Because that's one of those series that just seem to, like, just...
What, Settlers?
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Just
but they're not the same.
Right.
Okay. They keep trying to reinvent it badly.
What's the golden Settlers 2?
Well, yeah, Settlers 2 Gold, in fact.
Yeah, gold,
Not into the slightly podgy look of Settlers 3, then?
Well, it's not the look that was the problem, it was the gameplay that was the problem.
Settlers 2. Good bird noises. Good
that one sound effect that you're going to hear forever.
Pretty good ambient wind through trees noise.
You only think it's good because you haven't listened to it continuously for like several hours.
I'm sure it's like a 5-second loop or something.
It sure is.
But at the time, how many games actually like do like proper good wind through tree noise? It's not. Like Zelda doesn't have it.
Well, it does.
It's just got wind through the grass and stuff.
Yeah, you hear wind all the time. Breath of the Wild, that was half the whole point of that game not having music.
That was basically the name of the game, wasn't it? Breath of the Wild. That's why it was called that.
I wouldn't say it's like standout though. It's like it's there, but it's not like
it's good.
I mean, that's why it's not standout, because it's actually realistic.
I don't know. A forest can be pretty loud. If it's as windy as like Zelda actually is, because it's pretty windy in that world, and it's like
the full blown like storms and lightning and everything in Red Dead 2 is pretty cool.
They sound pretty good.
Yeah, they sound pretty good.
And I know it's like every time we bring this up, it's like something like this. It's obviously the hurricane level in Left 4 Dead 2. The best atmospheric wind and rain ever, because it was so intense.
I'll have to remind myself of that.
No.
I can't really... Well, not play it.
No, obviously.
But
I wish you would, but
I can't remember. Oh, really?
Really?
Well, I've always said, like, I want to play Left 4 Dead /2 again, but it's impossible to do that nowadays.
Well, we need a crew.
Yes, exactly. That's the problem.
You can't really go into... I mean, we can get by with 3, but
it's no it's no fun with bots. So you have to play free and use the rule set that removes the bots, because bots are too good in that game. They just snipe all the special infected immediately, and then it's just like, that's no fun.
Yeah, that'll be fine. We can get by with 3
in theory.
I don't think we'd be able to pull kippers in general.
No, of course not.
And unfortunately, that game has probably been superseded by things like Vermintide with the Cambridge crew might be into it. They might be into going back to it. Because they like Vermintide.
Well, sure. So anyway, what I have been playing... I guess I played more Zelda, and I do want to talk about some bits of Zelda. And I guess there's not much else for me to talk about, so this will be the transition, as usual. But, like, I'm still haven't finished it, but I'm like, I think next podcast I probably will, by next podcast. Because, like, I'm pretty much done. I've given up on the armor grind because those goddamn electric lasagna stairs are going to take a million years.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, screw that, I guess. I did discover a helpful tip, I guess, that you can get multiple star bits per night if you just keep skydiving off random islands.
Oh, what, and just hope to get the
falling one.
The falling ones.
They seem to. There doesn't seem to be or at least I got 2. So
oh wow, okay.
I can conclusively say you can get more than 1. I suppose.
It was like one time you were watching, and there just happened to be one next to me as well, which was quite funny.
Well, I mean, they do like appear like that. Yeah. So there's that.
Oh, look at that.
But I haven't tried grinding for those either. But that's less important than the electricless alpha stars, because the star bits are only for the referential armor, and that's like not real armor. I mean, it has stats, but it's not like
it's not. It hasn't got an interest at their own advantage.
Yeah, a special bonus or anything. So I've been doing that, and I've finished nearly everything. Like, I've got all the wells and all the caves. Obviously, talked about that last time.
Found the wells in the end.
Well, I mean, the wells, you can have the sensor on them, so that actually isn't too bad. Although I did find a well in a place where I'd already found a bunch of other wells, and I thought I'd already found all the wells, but I was like, there's a small possibility that I somehow missed a well, even though there's like 5 other wells right here. And I went there and it's like, oh yeah, there it is. Needed the sensor for that one, because I never would have known.
Can you censor the bubble frogs in caves?
I mean, yes, in theory, because you can take a photo of them.
Yeah.
So I guess you could put the sensor on.
Could you use that to find caves, like, because it might sense the bubble frog?
Yeah, I've never been too sure about how it detects. I mean, I guess it would just detect them, because it's not like it's a load area or anything. Like, stuff in caves is just loaded. So it should be able to detect them, probably, unless it's a particularly deep cave and you're too far away.
Yeah. Yeah, finding the entrance might still be a pain, but at least you might know one is there.
But yeah, I guess you could use that to potentially find caves you haven't found if you didn't want to find them the other way. The other more obvious way.
Yeah, the other way doesn't find them all.
Well, not at once.
No.
But yes, so there's that. I finished all the wells. I'd already finished all the caves. I think I've killed all of the Froxes now and all of the Flux constructs.
Jeez.
So really, I think I'm like the only 2 categories of enemies in those out of the 6 that they have killed lists for is like that I haven't done is like Taluses and Hinoxes, but that's just impossible. Like, why would you try and do every Talus? That's just stupid.
Is there just that many of them? Is that
yes, there's a goddamn ton. And they're all in the underground as well, all in the depths.
Yeah.
So I was just like, yeah, I'm not going to bother trying for that, but the easy ones I'll do, because the Flux constructs are obvious and the Froxes are obvious, so that's easy enough to just clear up. And then, so the last thing I've been working on to like feel like I
get something. Do you think out of that?
You get a medal.
Oh, okay.
For each of them, for each of the 6 types, you get a little medal for each of them. A lot of these,
you can be the Frox champion.
Yes, a lot of these like uber completionist things just give you a shitty medal. Like all the light routes, if you do all the light routes, they give you a medal. All the wells just gives you a medal. Killing all these enemies gives you a medal. Getting all the Croc seeds gives you a medal, essentially.
Yeah, I guess that's fair, I suppose, because it's like those are quite big asks.
Yes, but the last thing that I've been doing, well, there's one thing that's really annoying that I'm probably not going to be able to do, which is finish all the Addison signs, because how are you meant to find those?
Meant to find them, yeah.
Right.
There's nothing you can run a detector on those, and they're not even like visible on the map, and you can find quite a lot of them by looking for the little square of like the resource piles, because he's quite often next to those. Usually, but not all of them.
Yeah, there are some where he's just
in the middle of nowhere, standing next to some rocks that you have to use.
And sometimes under canopies, right? So those don't show up either.
And he's not a big enough object to appear on the map directly. I mean, I'm sure it wouldn't, because he's not a physical bit of terrain or anything. So there's those. Probably never going to finish those unless I scour the world way too
if he did show up on the map, we could at least designate him as an absolute unit.
Yep, clearly. And then, so the other thing I've been trying to finish is the compendium, right? Taking photos of everything. And so news on that, I guess, for our podcast, because I've talked about it before, I did buy a picture just to see what would happen. And so the first thing about it is you get to choose which category.
You buy pictures from
Robbie once you get to the other tech lab.
Right, yeah.
You can choose which category to buy a picture in, so you can actually pick the category, so that narrows it down slightly. Also, evidently, you can't accidentally buy pictures of the final boss or anything because I can't even buy in the photos in that category any longer, even though I have free slots left in that category. So obviously, those are the last boss or whatever. So that you don't have to worry about that. But yeah, I did that. I did that mainly because there was one like critter that I didn't have a photo of, and I just couldn't work out what the fuck it was. It just turned out to be crickets because I was dumb and hadn't noticed that I'd never taken a photo of a cricket.
Oh shit! Yeah, I probably haven't done that either.
Like, I looked through that list so many goddamn times, and I never noticed that crickets weren't in there.
Yeah,
and it was really annoying because, like, I think the game sort of tricked me on that aspect because the compendium list is in the same order as your inventory, mostly, except for this one case.
Yeah.
Like, it was in between, like, dragonflies and beetles. There was, like, one slot. And I looked at my inventory because I figured it out. Oh, it's in the same order. And I looked at my inventory and it's like, well, I don't have anything there that fits in that slot. But then it wasn't that in the same order. Turned out that wasn't true.
No, it's not 100% reliable.
So yeah. And then I bought that picture and then was like, oh shit. And then just went and took an actual picture and overwrite that. So get my own personal picture.
Does it actually penalise you then for buying that?
No, not really.
Okay.
I mean, you have to pay money, but...
Well, yeah, but sure. But like, there's no that actually counts, does it?
Well, presumably yes. I mean, I still haven't completed that side quest of like filling out the compendium, obviously, because that's what I'm doing.
Because you need to finish the game.
Well, presumably. But so what I've been stuck on is the non-decayed weapons from the depths.
Oh, okay.
So I've been running around the depths.
The ones with the statues.
Yeah, the one on the ghost piles. So I've been running around there, and the thing is, quite often you can see those ghost piles on the map. So like you can just zoom in on the map and pick them out and then just like run between them and see what they have. So I was doing that for ages. And then like the longer I did it, the more I was like, this is seeming suspiciously like these weapons are not here for some reason. In particular, the Korok weapons.
Oh, I didn't even know they were in the depths. I haven't found any of those.
Well, I mean, yeah, but like, so because of where the gaps were in the compendium, I eventually worked out what all the gaps I was missing should be. So there wasn't going to be any mystery ones. Like I hadn't missed any of the super special weapons, the hidden reference weapons or whatever. So I knew what all the slots should be. So I was like, okay, there's going to be a clean version of the Korok weapons. So where should that spawn? Well, obviously in the depths under the Korok woods, right?
Sure, yeah.
Or in that general vicinity at least.
Sure.
So I'd run around that area for goddamn ever, finding all the different ghost piles I possibly could. I was like, it's seeming increasingly like they're not here for some reason. And then I was like, well, maybe they're in the jungle for some reason. I mean, I guess that's like a woody area, right? So I went down there and wandered around. And then, like, the longer I did this and the longer I didn't find any of these last few weapons I was looking for, it's like, something's going on here, isn't it?
Right.
So I had to go and fucking look it up on the internet. Because it was getting really annoying, and I was just like, I'm just wandering around aimlessly forever. And it turns out that this is another one of those situations where there's annoying hidden information that you wouldn't even know unless someone told you.
Is it like a spawn limit or something? Like, so you have to go visit that area and then immediately go to the depths or something, so it has it in memory? Or
so one of the things about it is that like it is area specific, and the thing that I'd originally thought that because they respawn. But they don't, it's not the same weapon every time. Like, if you take the weapon off that pile and go back, it can respawn into a different weapon.
Okay.
So there's that. But the thing that was screwing me and, like, is really annoying, and therefore is why I'm going to tell everyone this hot tip that I read off of Reddit, Fred.
Hot Reddit tip
is
of the week.
The clean versions of weapons don't spawn in the depths unless you've specifically broken the non-clean weapon.
Oh.
In the overworld.
In the overworld. And you have to break it. You can't just pick it up and then like use it a bit and chuck it away. You have to literally make it break.
Weird.
And do they spawn once, or once that has happened once?
Once that has happened, plus a blood moon, I guess. You have to reset the world.
Do you reckon they're trying to tell you that it's like, oh, it's the ghost of the weapon?
Maybe. But like, there's no way you would know that, of course. And there's no, like, I would never have found that out because I never would have gone and used these weapons normally.
Right. Oh, that's mildly annoying, actually.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, as soon as I read that and then just went to Correct Forest, found the decayed versions, broke them,
attacked a tree for a bit,
got a blood moon, went down there. It's like, oh yeah, there they are.
Annoying.
Wait, so the blood moon has to happen as well.
Apparently.
Oh, what? So it resurrects your broken sword.
Yes, or resurrects the ghosts at least.
God. I mean, okay, thematically, there's a through line there, but surely the game must have some information. Maybe that's something they just forgot. There must be like somewhere that tells you that system. But
yeah, I mean, it's the fact that because it's part of the completion. Yeah.
Ugh, that's quite annoying.
But yeah, that was very, very a big fat waste of time. But I'm on the last few of those weapons now, and so now what I'm having to do is run around the depths and basically go to all the ghost files and deliberately take the weapon off them to force them to respawn so that the things that I haven't got can then spawn in that place.
Yeah. So at least you can easily return to it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, so even if you go there, don't pick it up and you come back at a later date?
It keeps it.
Oh.
So you do actually have to... you
have to force them to cycle out.
Yes. So now you can just do it by ultra-handing them. You just ultra-hand the weapon off the ghost's hands.
Right. So when you'd already gone to the Lost Woods depths...
It had already populated that with other weapons.
So you had to go and unpopulate it and then come back oh, God. Right, so that's probably happened to me as well then.
Yes, probably.
I don't think I've broken any of that stuff either. Not that I care that much. The compendium completion is... yeah. I'll get as much as I can, but I'm definitely not going to 100% that. I can't take pictures of little tiny birds.
You're still having that problem.
Fuckers keep flying away whenever I get close to them.
Try putting on the stealth armor for a minute.
Oh, that's probably a good idea. Yeah. Just as I get in range, they always fly off. That's my problem. And I still haven't been able to actually spot a beetle.
Without it flying off.
Yeah.
I mean, as I said, there's one specific place in the entire world where they just spawn tons, and once you get there, you'll just deal with that.
Okay, fine. Yeah, I've not found that. Deal with it.
But yeah, apart from that, that's I'm pretty much got to be done at this point. Just go and do that last boss, finally.
Yeah, I think you could definitely do that. Without completing the compendium.
You could do that and then still finish off.
Well, I mean, I want to get as much done as I can before that, just so I can see what the percentage is I'm pretty sure there's going to be there was in Breath of the Wild, a percentage count once you finish the game that will just tell you how many side quests you still have to do or whatever.
And that'll put you back in the world and you can just do it again and get a new percentage though, right?
Well, yeah. But, I mean, presumably... You can't even 100% it because the finish the compendium mission will require you to take pictures of the last boss anyway to finish that side quest. So you have to at least do that last boss before you can finish that side quest anyway.
That makes sense. Did you take a picture of every boss in the game as you went?
I remembered to this time.
Okay.
Because that was the problem in Breath of the Wild. It's not as bad in this game, obviously, because some of the bosses respawn.
There are opportunities to acquire that.
Except for maybe that one specific light, as I keep saying.
Which I've never seen again. I've never seen that again.
It'd be funny if that's the only missable one in this game now. Because I think it potentially might be. I mean, I guess you could miss Master Koga, I guess.
Oh, shit. Yeah. He's a compendium item?
Yeah, because he's just an enemy.
Oh, balls. Yeah, I haven't done that. I didn't even think of that.
But yeah.
I kind of assumed a dude just wouldn't be...
Well, you take pictures of the Yiga clan.
Yeah.
The regular dudes.
I suppose.
So yeah, that's more or less the end of Zelda, but not quite. Talk about that next time. What have you been doing in Zelda, Dan? /Rob again?
Yeah.
Well, I'm working on my fourth temple.
All right, you're on the desert now.
Okay. Yes, I'm in Gerudo Town and dealing with that. Cool. This feels decently... a bit more old school Zelda, this area.
Right, yeah. Well, you mean the actual temple or just the whole process
kind
of the
area?
The
whole deal, actually. Right. Yeah, there's a bit... It feels like a bit... It does feel a bit... Yeah, nostalgic in some ways. Not that I'm saying any of the other sequences have been bad, but this one in particular is pulling at my yeah, this is a bit more trad Zelda. And I like it. Yeah, the lightning temple's been fine. It's not a long temple either, right? It's not.
I mean, yeah, none of them are really.
None of them are super long, no. But it's been fine. Yeah, it's a kind of classic puzzle as well to solve. It's a bit weird. There was one it's a strange area because I won't spoil it too much, but I'm sure there's a way of just getting to the place yourself that you're trying to get to, but without the champion in tow.
Oh right, yeah.
I mean, it's obvious when you know the area. It's like, yeah. So I went. I got there and was like, I'm not going to commit to this. Right.
You triggered a thing and they were like, maybe I should have had another person.
Maybe we should do this properly, but I'm interested to know what would have happened had I just...
Well, there's another... I think...
Had I just gone.
I think there's another area that you may not have seen yet where you can do a similar thing that I'm wondering what happens if you do that one early. And I like... If I do just go into a master mode playthrough, I might try that. Yeah, because it's like I would.
Oh yeah, I'd definitely be like, if I was to play this game again, I would take all the cheese I could. But
it's different from being cheese. It's like there might be like it might be more possible to do this. Well, I mean, not more possible than Breath of the Wild because it was totally possible to do anything in any order you wanted in Breath of the Wild. But like, it might still be possible in this game, just in even more weird ways than you'd think, because you can chuck shit at shit, basically.
There's a bit of that. But yeah, I was like curious if it was effectively I could have in theory got to what looked like the boss area without your companion that you gain at each temple, right? So it's
I mean, you wouldn't be able to do that in the Goron one, presumably.
Well, no, presumably not.
Well,
no. Unless there's some other thing you can just fire at.
Well, but again, another thing to experiment with if I ever do a master mode is like you could go through the depths, right? You could just go to the Goron temple through the depths.
You could just find it early, right? There's nothing stopping you at all. Is it unless there's some way of like you can't get into the temple without
I mean, you wouldn't be able to trigger the whole. You wouldn't be able to trigger the temple without Vo's ability because he has to like ram the door or whatever and. That triggers the whole temple sequence to initiate.
Right, and the locks. Right, yes. You can't break the locks without him. Yeah, in the same way.
Unless you can. Unless there's some kind of like... I
think so.
I can't think of anything else that would cause that sort of explosion force effect that Vo's charge does.
Yeah, this was a bit different because in this particular instance, I didn't need to do any of the tasks. Right. And I could just get there. And it's like, this Do I push A or do I push B? It was one of those moments.
Right.
I will undo this and do this properly.
Well, that's how I felt about the Lost Woods, where I was like, I wanted when I was waiting until the game told me to do it, just to see what the game does tell you to do.
To go to the Lost Woods.
Yeah, to go to the Lost Woods.
I haven't been told yet.
Yes.
And it hasn't told me to go there.
Well, no. It tells you that. I think I said on the podcast though, but like it tells you it very late, like way later than I think it probably should have.
Right. Because I haven't done the quest that follows on from that yet.
Right.
But I think I understand what it is, but I don't quite know how to execute it.
Yeah. I mean, that's not reliant on being told to go to the Lost Woods in any way. In fact, that's another thing that in master mode
you could probably just do.
Yeah, you could probably just do it.
Okay, so it is what I think it is.
Well, probably. Dan, what have you been doing as we talk around all these spoilers?
Well, I'm just looking forward to having some time off so I can play some more Zelda. Yeah.
Spending a lot of time in the depths. Did that. Finally fought a Frox.
Oh, okay.
I fought two Froxes. I don't even know what
Frox is. I'm looking forward to finding out when I get a chance to play.
Yeah. They're not as tricky as they first appear.
No.
Because, I don't know, I just saw this thing in the dark and was like, that thing's massive. I'm clearly not going to be able to fight this for a goddamn age.
That seems to be Rob's reaction to everything, though.
Yep, it's like, that looks like a problem. I'm not going to deal with it. Do I need to deal with it? No, I don't. Okay, fine. Let's walk around it. But I kind of accidentally ended up in this in a situation where I was fighting. Unfortunately, it was like a base Frox, so like it wasn't any of the variants. And it's like, yeah, that was it. That was. And then I fought a variant, and it wasn't that much harder. So it's like, okay, that's okay. So I did that, but I was spending a lot of time in the depths, just trying to make that make that map a little bigger.
Right, yeah.
I've done the second Koga phase, and now I get to go back to somewhere I've already been, which is apparently where the next phase of that is. Because I discovered it too early, and there was nothing there.
Yep, as you do.
So I'll go back and do that at some point. But yeah, I just thought I should probably deal with that bottom corner of the map to see if there's anything unique down there, and of course there is, and it's
slightly unique for the depths, I suppose, because a lot of the depths is very the same.
Oh, not so much the depths, but like just the Gerudo area in general. Like there's things that are like only appear in that area.
There's a lot of sand. Unsurprisingly, it's the desert. It's where sand things happen.
Yeah, but different enemies and stuff like that. Where the electricless Alphos live.
Well, yeah, unfortunately. That's everything that I played, I guess, that I can remember to talk about.
And I think I was doing some stuff in that area too early. That's the other thing I wanted to say. Like, because obviously, like in almost every area of the game, it's like if you go do the temple quest, it probably makes the area a little bit easier to navigate afterwards.
Right. Yeah.
So I was probably faffing around in the sand shroud for a bit too long. And it's like I should probably just go do the main mission and clear all this up, which I haven't yet done.
Oh, right.
I haven't finished all of that. But that's kind of been the theme of this game, right? It's like there's a problem in this area.
Yes.
Deal with that first, and then exploration gets a bit simpler. But I kind of wish, like it. I do really like when the game actually focuses in a bit, like, and has these kind of scripted is probably strong, but that's kind of what they are, like these guided tasks,
right?
That obviously have had a bit more, maybe more is not the right word, but like they're a bit more guided. There's a bit more like intent behind them. There's a bit more urgency and agency at the same time around doing those flows. And I kind of wish there was more of that over the whole 100-odd hours that I've played this game. Like that there were more of these, because these sequences are good.
Well, it always seemed like they were going to it was going to be about like rebuilding Hyrule, and you were going to actually, fix the world over the course of the game. But that wasn't what they did.
It's not quite, yeah.
They could have had
something else has broken it more.
When you have those like the monster control squad missions where you go and help them fight off the enemies.
Oh, sure.
But then canonically they all just respawn anyway, and everyone is actually aware of that in this game. They're like, oh yeah, these guys are going to come back after the Blood Moon anyway, but we have to keep fighting.
Yeah, which makes some sections like not make sense, right? Because I think, Dan, you talked about you'd been down. Had you been down to Laurelin?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like there's a whole.
But that's the bit where it doesn't apply.
Yeah, there's a whole quest to push out the pirates.
Yeah.
But then I guess like do they canonically respawn wherever they started because they boated to Laurelin?
Yeah, I guess.
Like, is that the excuse? Like, if anything is on a boat, it dies permanently, or comes from a boat.
But yeah, it's just like if they changed that mechanic to make it so that it made sense to be able to recover more of the world, then that could have been a thing they did. They could have had like this much more of those progression quests where you actually like, if you push the enemies out of this fort, then you get to build something there instead.
Yeah, to deal with it, because you know where the guys are going to spawn at the Blood
Moon.
Well,
no, I'm saying if they changed the whole Blood Moon idea and made it so if you pushed the enemies out of that fort, you could actually like move in and then like you could build something there to help you in the rest of the game somehow.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Like a farm or something, just grows more crops.
Yeah, some resource provider.
Yeah.
That could have been cool. But, well, almost every time in this game when you actually unlock a resource provider, it still costs you, right? It's not like they'll just give you stuff.
But yes, they kept the Blood Moon, so...
Need more rice and wheat, yo.
Just go cut some grass, I already told you.
It's never happened for me. I've never seen that happen. Just crickets for days come out of the grass.
Well, luckily this time you don't need a shit ton of those like for that quest in Breath of the Wild, because you only needed 10 technically, but still.
Yeah, that's not that many. Get those crabs.
So anyway, that's that. Guess that's all I did.
Play more Zelda.
I'm gonna. At least a little bit more.
I don't need to tell you that. I'm more interested to know what happens when you run out of Zelda, to be honest.
Well,
I mean, do you know Master Quest is in this?
No,
game?
I don't.
Okay.
I mean, I'm fairly sure I've heard people say it, but that might just be like old videos getting re-promoted on YouTube, and they're actually talking about Breath of the Wild for all I know.
Sure.
Because I'm only looking at thumbnails.
The similarities are strong. Yeah, and then don't spoil yourself. It'd be a nice reveal.
Well, maybe.
Oh, maybe. But then you tell us, and then it's like, and then we get reveal as well. Bonus.
Sure.
For a mode I'm likely to not
never
likely
get
to play.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least for a very long time.
Just wait for the DLC.
Oh God.
Oh, and another thing I want to talk about related to Zelda, but not actually related to Zelda, is like
the Return of the Master Cycle.
I haven't talked about it on the podcast, but I figured out what they have to do for the next Hyrule Warriors game.
Oh, okay. Now I'm interested. Right, what are we doing?
Because it's real obvious. What you have to do is like you do time travel again, except now when Zelda goes back to the past, instead of the thing being finding a way to get her back to the future, you pull everyone else back to the past and you fight the original imprisoning war.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah.
So then you have Link and the 4 modern sages and the 4 old sages and Rauru and Minoru and all the other Zonai people you can come up with.
Yeah, interesting. And Hot Ganon.
And Hot Ganon as an enemy. And then
and some other new antagonist that says "curse you" a lot.
Sure, curse you guy can come back. I'm not sure if you can somehow manage to figure out a way to get Koga into the past. Except by accident, maybe. But
he has always been there. Koga has never died.
It's actually always the same guy, even though it's sort of implied in Breath of the Wild that it's like his dad or whatever.
Yeah. Do you bring back like Shrine Guy, like Mad Monk Maz? Well, you might as well just bring everyone, I suppose. But
well, sure, but like,
but
that wouldn't make much sense.
No, he definitely would have lived after all that.
You can bring Pure and Robbie.
I mean, they would have invented the tech, so.
No, I meant into the past.
Yeah, but they would have been involved in inventing the tech, so they would come out of interest.
It would be kind of weird.
And Robbie would definitely bring his electric guitar.
Well, sure.
Which is still absent from this game.
I'm not sure what they do about like the equivalent of the Sheikah Slate, which would be like Ultra Hand. Not sure how that one would work in combat.
Yeah, that's the bit I can't quite figure out, like how the
I mean, I'm sure it'd be fairly similar to like the magnesis powers in Hyrule Warriors.
You just steal weapons off people, I guess.
Just pick shit up and slam it around for no apparent reason.
But it'd be canned animations.
Well, yeah, sure. Yeah. Obviously. There probably wouldn't be much actual building.
No. Glues enemies together for some reason, like breaking the original rules.
It's like an enemy Katamari and just like shove it.
Yes.
But yes, that's...
just like someone else could just build a cage around them and then
crush them.
Yeah.
But yes, that's the obvious solution to the story aspect of the next Hyrule Warriors game if they're going to make one based on Tears of the Kingdom.
I really hope they do. I really hope they do. And I hope they change everything.
Well, they won't change everything.
No,
as we very quickly discovered when we played the first Hyrule Warriors, it's like, oh yeah, all these characters are based on these old characters.
Kinda. When even then, probably based on Dynasty War characters, right?
Probably. So let's hope for that. And the DLC. More Zelda. Endless Zelda.
Probably means we won't get the bomb tank.
I mean, you could. It could just be assembled out of parts.
Yeah, and it's just throwing fire.
It just doesn't auto. It would like whoop.
Oh yeah, pluck, 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 and then wanders around with like various turrets on it, just going ah.
Pretty much. That's that. Anything else Rob has been playing?
Yeah, continue to play NFS Unbound.
Okay,
that game is still pretty cool. I haven't made it halfway through the story yet.
Oh God.
Yeah, I think that's my core problem with it. I think its progression is a bit slow.
I mean, that's sort of the problem of most racing games somehow.
Yeah,
like they always try and they put a load of content in there, and it's just like, yeah, but you're going to take forever to get all this content.
Yeah, it's a bit much because new race types are basically locked behind the progression of time in the story, like the real time element of it, like the calendar, I guess. And I think they're also locked behind like what level of car you have. So you need to like tier up your car into the next class, and then like the next tier up of events. you can access.
Right.
But actually, I think that like you can't see that tier until it's relevant. So like in week 2, I don't think I can see S tier events, because at the start of week 2, I could start to see A+ events. Like with a locked symbol.
You're already getting to S in week 2. That seems a bit like weirdly scaled.
The game starts at B.
Okay.
And goes B, A+.
2 weeks.
It goes B, A+, S+, being the top. Yeah, well, you get like that little intro, then you get week 1, which is get an A level car. Get your B to A level, and then in week 1, and then week 2 is get your A, get yourself to an A+ car. There's like 4 weeks basically.
What in total for the whole story?
That's what it seems to be spread out over. Yeah.
Okay, well,
but you get morning and
that
night.
does still seem a little high to like go to S tier before you're literally halfway through the game.
Well, yeah, I could get to S tier now, but like the problem with the progression is the money side, right? So you need to be doing the races to earn cash to upgrade your cars to the point where they are competitive,
right.
Like not just to the tier you need, but also competitive within that tier. So it's the Forza Motorsport problem, right? Yep. Where you need to get to the top of that tier, really.
Make a shitty S tier car and drive at the back, because that's about all you can do.
Yeah, you don't really want to do that because you want to do well, and there are rewards for doing well. Like you want to be potentially winning new cars by doing well in the races by having a high-spec car in the current tier, because that car you might win might actually be something that could be spec'd out to be higher tier for the next time. But I've already come across the slight issue where I have to I spent a bucket load of money on my Mitsubishi Evo to get it up to the top of A tier, a top of A+ tier, and then kind of realized it's like, it's not actually really going to be possible to get this to the top of S tier unless I upgrade the whole engine. And if you upgrade the whole engine, which costs a bucket load of money, the upgrades you bought don't apply.
Right.
They only apply, those upgrades you bought apply to the other engine. So I can still go back and get my top spec A+ car. But if I want to spec this Mitsubishi up to S class, I've got to buy a better engine and start building on top of that again, which I didn't realize. And so now I've got a bit of a that was a whole bunch of wasted money, wasn't it? So I've got to keep plowing through. And you've also got to worry about, at some point, I'm going to have to tear up my garage even more, which costs a whole lot more money to do, so I can install higher quality upgrades to things, which I bet I'm going to have to do next week. This could all be solved by just, making the events slightly more generous, because it's sort of encouraging you to buy you have to also spend that money if you want to just do the urban car culture customization shiz.
Right. You can't afford skins if you need the upgrades.
Yeah, well, you can do wraps. Wraps are free.
Oh, right.
As it calls it now, but basically, skins, putting paint jobs on cars, that's all free. But if you want to body kit your car or put different wheels on or underglow, that all costs money. So it's constantly saying, it's you don't want to just be fast, you got to look fast, and it's encouraging you to do this, but it's there's actually
only if there's a gameplay mechanic.
Yeah, exactly, and there isn't. No, there isn't a gameplay mechanic behind it, so it's it feels like a bit of a waste of your hard-earned money, which you're trying to keep to upgrade your cars. Which, I haven't yet had the situation where I've failed a session, right? I haven't yet been busted by the cops and lost the money from that session. So I think I'm doing reasonably well on the money gain side of things, or at least as far in game terms, right? I think I'm doing pretty well in terms of getting as much bang for buck as I can without letting my heat get too high and making the cop chases immediately super difficult. So yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just, that's the problem. It's one of those, right? It's an open world racing game, and they feel like they have to make it a bit more of an elongated experience than you really want it to be. But I will say in its favor, it's got a lot of flavor text around the game, voiceovers and things like that, and they are in no way as shit as Forza Horizon. So that's great. I'm actually kind of into them. They're kind of they're sometimes funny. They're sometimes they fit within the world, is what I'm saying, and it's and I much prefer the world they're building in this game to the weirdly, you're a superstar, everybody loves you.
No one's told you to post something on YouTube yet.
No one has told me to post something on. Well, that kind of happens as part of the story, sort of accidentally, but you don't do it. It's I don't know. Its whole the whole vibe they build with this game is just better than like any other open world game has done, I think. Or at least ones I've played anyway. I think they do a real good job of nailing that here. And it fits with the story nicely, but it's also got this, like, I'm only just really sort of like realizing that the story mode actually in this game is like half the game. There's like this big complex like online mode to it as well, where you're doing online races and sort of doing what you're doing in the story, but in an online capacity against people. And it's,
does that earn extra cash though?
I don't think it crosses over.
Okay.
So like, maybe I should try it and see what actually happens. Because otherwise that's a cheat, right?
Yeah.
And I'm also kind of avoiding the fact that EA Play gives you cars.
Oh, right.
So like at the very start of the game, it gave me an S tier car for playing with it, for being in a Game Pass EA Play member. And it's just like, here, have a car, have a really fast car. And it's like, no, like that's literally a cheat. I'm not going to use that. So I'm not. I'm. To which Gnome, I told that to Gnome, and she's like, "You're very honourable." It's like you don't have to do that. And I'm like,
well, it's not honour. It's like you don't want to ruin the game. It's literally going to screw up the progression of that whole game.
Yeah, I feel like I'm not getting the intended experience if I do that. Like some marketing person has just undercut all the work that's gone into this.
Yeah,
that's what that feels like. But yeah, I really dig this game. Like yeah, it's doing what Forza Horizon hasn't really done for me. I don't know. I'm more into this, I think, than I was that game. Like Forza Horizon's driving model, sure, it's way more realistic than what you get here.
Yeah,
but yeah, the combination of presentation and just maybe it's like in part due to the fact that I'm on a retro racing binge.
Yep.
That this all just this feels a little bit like the modernization of that, and it's real good. Happy Rob. To that end, Dan watched me play some Ridge Racer Revolution earlier.
Yeah.
You know, Ridge Racer 2-ish.
It's a good looking game
on PS1. It's a fun game. It's got some banging tunes. It holds up weirdly in its own like bizarre
as a Ridge
way.
Racer game, yeah.
Well, yeah, as a with its weird ass sliding and
track sliding. Yeah. But I don't think in that one you can like literally go the wrong way around the corner. Can you? Could you? Can
I
you?
just haven't really tried.
I just remember that from
Ridge Racer 64.
Yeah.
It was an essential tactic in parts of Ridge Racer 64.
Well,
how did it
not necessarily going the wrong way, but like locking into the slide.
Well, yeah, because like the shit part of Ridge Racer 64 was kind of like they took the original track from Ridge Racer 1, which are a classic, and they took the track from Ridge Racer Revolution as well and gave it a new coat of paint. But they also added their own track ribbons. I forget what they called them. Renegade, I think, in that game. They got the Renegade Soundwave into that.
Command and Conquer Renegade.
Was that game any good?
I don't think so, no. It was a good idea. I think there's people trying to remake that in Unreal.
Oh, really?
Yeah, or has been for like 15 years.
Yeah, so they took that. They made their new tracks, but like Ridge Racer 64 is in general like can go faster than those original Ridge Racer games. Like the classing seems different. So the ribbon they introduced like is just so awkward in places where they literally add like a couple of zigzag sections, and it's like it's not possible to drive those properly. Or at least as far as I can tell, it's not possible to drive those properly. So your best tactic is to use the sliding mechanism and let it just pull you around the corners, because once you're sliding, it kind of path movements through areas.
Yeah.
So you might as well do a 360 was the kind of thing, because it's just like, woo, and then line it up and you'll be fine. As far as I can tell, was the fastest way through that set of corners.
They should have just lent into that mechanic, obviously. It should have been like some kind of weird, like, you turn it into a kudos system where it's like stylish.
Yeah.
You say that, there is apparently a cheat code for Ridge Racer Revolution where they do, and you can unlock like spinning zones on the track, and it gives you points for like pulling off 360s in that area of the track.
And it's the whole Project Gotham kudos system. I get that it's in Forza Not really.
I've been considering breaking out, because my Dreamcast is still out at the moment, breaking out Metropolis Street Racer.
Doesn't quite have,
kind of where it all began. It has the kudos system, and it has...
Like PGR is where it kind of, came into its own. But yeah.
I don't know. It kind of felt like this... I don't know. I had a lot of MSR experience at that point, and I was like, this is the same. But obviously it's on Xbox, so it looks nicer. Also, MSR had weird systems like where you set your own goals.
Yeah.
So before a race, it would give you the base target, and you could be like, "No, make that harder. I want more kudos for my reward for that," which was kind of cool. It was a kind of neat system, but it meant it was way too lenient. And like with the options it originally gave you, like if you wanted to just breeze your way through the game, you could just do it in easy mode. It's fine. But yeah, if you wanted to come out a challenge and go, "No, I want that harder." You absolutely could, and you could set your own targets. It was cool. And it did some of the early... Oh, no, man, MSR had so many weird, like, ahead of its time features. Like, it would link to the real time and use that to drive the locations day-night cycle.
Yeah.
So Tokyo was cool. Almost always in the dark.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, MSR's a neat game. I should go back to that. I should give it a quick go anyway.
Well, you've got the Dreamcast out.
Yeah, might as well. I haven't been playing too much on my Dreamcast actually of late. As I say, Ridge Racer kind of did the thing, and NFS did the thing, and then Zelda also took up my time. Kind of it. The usuals.
Yep.
Oh, no, wait, sorry. There is something I started, and I teased this last episode.
And then nearly forgot to talk about it.
Yep. Probably because it's actually not a particularly interesting experience. Detective Pikachu.
Oh, okay.
On the 3DS. One of the, maybe other than like Pokemon Picross, like the only game I can think of that I have on that platform that doesn't support the 3D slider.
Right.
Weird. It's a 3DS game with no 3D. That's a game. It exists.
Is it though?
But it's a game. No, it's not really a game. That's kind of that's kind of my problem with it. Like it's okay. I liked Professor Layton.
Yeah.
When I played that, and what was it? The Miracle Mask, I think, was the one I've played. And I enjoyed that because it managed to blend interesting puzzles with a kind of interesting story. Not too much visual novel stuff. I mean, quite a lot of visual novel stuff, but not that bad. As a player, I feel like I have quite a lot of agency and like, you know, how I'm getting around and scanning scenes for stuff and clicking on specific things to get to flavor text. Detective Pikachu feels like they took that idea and babied it like to all hell.
What a surprise! Yeah, it's a Pokemon game.
It's so progression is so linear, like not just like through when you get given a problem and you're given like a scene to do some detectiving in, like detecting, I guess, detectiving, detectivization. But like there are parts of it where you can, as a player, get clearly ahead of it and go, oh, I'm going to need to do this. And there's absolutely no way the game will let you until you find the sequence of events where the characters realize it. It's one of those, right? Where and the characters are real stupid. Like,
naturally.
Detective Pikachu isn't all that great at detective, as it turns out. And so it's quite frustrating. It's just like, like one of the opening scenes, some APOMs go mad, like kind of like they do in the film. Yeah, and they knock over some paint and they start leaving a trail like behind them, and you're like, great, I'll just follow the trail. The game then makes you like have to. The characters don't realize this, so for a while you're then like, it goes, oh, you're gonna have to talk to these people to see what they, you know, to gather witness accounts about the situation, and then you can go like tell them about this, and it's like, no, I just want to follow that freaking paw print that's just right over there, so I can go do the thing I want to do, right? And it's like you have to go, and this happens every scene. You have to go through like every possible combination of things available to you until the characters go, oh, I get it now. And I'm like, oh, do you get it now? You morons. And then when you actually do get to a puzzle, which do happen periodically, it's like they've so far been like super simple, like not really interesting at all. Like, there's one where it's like there's a code that's based off the like, oh, he's encoded this in 4 Pokemon, like instead of numbers or something like that. It's like it's a code which is made up of 4 Pokemon, and it's like, and there's clearly a chart that tells you like oh, this is the order of the Pokemon, and they are of these types. And it's like, okay, so it must be of the Pokemon that are at this facility. So so the most work I've had to do is comparing the types of those Pokemon in my notes to like what ones would be on this chart, and then dragging them into that position. And then that's part of the puzzle. But the keypad you're actually supposed to operate is symbol based rather than Pokemon based. So you figured out this Pokemon code. And then you just find a bit of paper that has like literally what that translation is. And it doesn't make you then do that puzzle. It just goes, oh, the code's this. Right. It just tells you what the code is, and it's like, well, great. There was another admittedly bog-standard puzzle there. And to make things worse, I actually found that bit of paper first. So I kind of knew I could do all this in sequence in one go, but I had to go through the whole process of. I don't think I like this game.
I mean, it's not super surprising. I mean, the thing you haven't talked about, which was going to be the only part you did like, is what is it like with the actual voice acting and like how much coffee does it drink and all that stuff.
I mean, the voice acting is fine. Like it's not. It's like there's nothing to. It's not that bad. The voice acting is fine. Like I like how Pikachu walks around in the sequences and is like expressing like in a sort of detective-y kind of Columbo-y kind of way. Yeah. Well, as Pikachu detectivizes, yes. He emotes quite well, and his voice is like comically gruff.
Still,
yeah, and he super loves coffee aroma, specifically aroma. So, like he seems to really love aroma.
Does he not actually drink it then?
Oh yeah, no, he has drunk it.
Okay.
But I think literally just once. So for like in my time with it, he's drunk the coffee just once.
Basically smells it.
So like
because there's like one cafe he really likes, so now he won't have the coffee from anywhere else.
Oh, okay. But so what? He's like walking past that cafe a lot and being like, "Oh, I can smell it."
No, we've only been there once.
But it doesn't seem like he's going to have much chance to smell it then.
No, he's not going to be like on a coffee high. Like, I think you do go back to your Harry's apartment, your dad's apartment at one point, and he goes like, and like everything's a mess other than the coffee machine, and he's like, hell yeah. Like, we're not quite like that, hell yeah. But
he will drink his own coffee and the coffee from this one shop.
Yeah, I think so. Okay. Yeah, there's a point where you discover a coffee machine somewhere else, and he's like, oh, that coffee's aroma makes me not want to drink this. Okay. It's not as much coffee action as the new Detective Pikachu trailer lets on. Like, yeah.
I'm sure there won't be that much in that game either.
No, it's man, what a great concept, but not a particularly well executed game. Like I'm not the market for it. It is clearly aimed at younger kids. There is one joke that's pretty good that references the cartoon.
Okay. Speaking of referencing the cartoon, just totally at random here, like I saw on the BBC's homepage, they were like, do you want your children are born? Get them to watch something new on iPlayer. And it was the Pokemon cartoon. Oh, wow. I was like, I guess the BBC has that now, so it's new for them, but still not new.
What, like the original?
No, it's the modern series.
Oh, right, okay.
So I guess technically
that's newish, yeah.
But like, possibly one of the least new conceptual series you could have had.
Gary. Bum bum bum. Have they got a new theme tune?
I don't know. I've never seen the actual. No. I've never seen an actual real clip of the new version.
I'm not sure it's made that much of a cultural impact, has it? This new version. I mean, is it the new version where it's no longer Ash, or are they playing like the end of Ash's storyline, like? Where Ash mysteriously has like these extra cheek lines that make him look like he's got a mustache.
No, yeah, I think it is that one. So they might be like one or two series back.
Mustache.
Yeah.
How many years was Ash the hero? 25 years.
Something like that, yeah. But he's forever 10 or whatever.
How many episodes were there? How many thousands?
Probably not that many, actually. Because I think they took like big old break.
Well, sure, yeah.
And then made like 8 shitty movies.
Sure, yeah, they shitted out a lot of movies as well in between all these anime episodes.
I think I've seen that first movie. It was not good.
No, obviously.
Has the same plot of all of them, where Mewtwo's going crazy.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Not always Mewtwo.
It is.
I mean,
It's always legendaries, not necessarily Mewtwo.
I think the first film was definitely Mewtwo.
Yes, obviously, because he's the first legendary. Does you count the birds?
The boids. I do
Zapdos.
count the boids. But you see like Zapdos in like the first episode of the cartoon. Like,
You see a secret legendary that was in the second game. You couldn't have even known about it.
Yeah. What is that? Nobody knows. Nintendo's.
Yep. Maybe. Game Freak at least. Or the Pokemon company, I guess.
I'm gonna get that song stuck in my head again. That is like, I'll give that theme tune some credit. It is a proper earworm.
Well, it's a children's cartoon theme. It's got to
Dan
be.
Dan Dan.
It has lyrics as well. That's how you. That's,
Yeah.
You know, DuckTales.
Yeah. My arm is broken.
Not quite.
I don't even know what language that version was.
It was like Finnish, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that. Oh man, yeah, that's what I've been playing. I don't know how much. I'll probably play more of it just because I'm a completionist, like to an extent.
Well, at least it shouldn't be very difficult to finish.
No. Well, I don't know how long it will be. Like, I have absolutely no idea what its length is at this point. I feel like the story isn't really going yet.
Right. Do you have an idea of like have you seen like the start of the big mystery that you're going to keep coming back to and progressing?
No, because like okay, if you've seen the Detective Pikachu film, it's clearly vaguely following that,
right?
But like so like there's been an accident and that's why your dad's disappeared, right? So
right,
that's in the film. I know that's happened, but we've not seen that or seen anything of it. It's already been hinted very heavily that Pikachu is Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, sure.
Right, spoilers, I guess. Like it's already played that card, but like this early. Like explicitly, what it actually does is when you're in the cafe, right, and Pikachu's downing this coffee.
Is Pikachu literally Ryan Reynolds? Like that? He's
not in the game.
Not in the game, no, unfortunately. But
why not? That'd be amazing.
Because it came before the film, so they wouldn't have known the casting.
That would have been great.
No, I mean, like, because the Pikachu in the film is his dad or something, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, and it's voiced by Ryan Reynolds.
And it's voiced by Ryan Reynolds. But what if in the game it was Ryan Reynolds?
It was just Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
Oh my god, you're so famous.
I mean,
that'd be pretty good. That'd be pretty good. Dad, why didn't you tell me you were a film star, not a detective? Anyway, yeah, you're in the cafe and Pikachu's drinking coffee, and then like the detective agency, which is the floor above the cafe, like the boss of that just wanders in and goes, "Huh, Pikachu never used to drink coffee." It's like, oh.
So they did have a Pikachu that just hung out in the cafe.
So wait,
well, because Harry had a
drinks
Pikachu
coffee
right?
from his favourite coffee shop only, but it's the one right below his detective office.
Yes.
So, conveniently.
It just happens to be there.
Okay,
yeah.
That's convenient.
Yeah, it's pretty good, isn't
I'm
it?
sure it's a good deal for the cafe. Like they get this constant traffic.
Yeah,
you know, that's kind of the thing in like
install like a pipe, coffee pipe up to the.
That's kind of the thing in this world, right? Like the Pokemon in Rhyme City are kind of allowed to be independent and do their own thing, but most partner up with a human.
Sure.
And so, but they're not like it's not like put them in balls and things like that.
Is there a Pokemon barista partnered up with a human barista?
Yeah. I mean, he's not a barista. She is a terrible waitress, as it turns out. I forget what Pokemon it is, but yes, there is a Pokemon waitress.
And they're bad at it.
And they're bad at it, yes.
And they choose to continue doing that. Seems like now this cafe is sounding less popular.
It's a weird game. It's a weird game. It's got quick time events as well. Because of course it does. Yeah, I just wish they'd. You know what it makes me hype for? Not that new Detective Pikachu game, but that new Professor Layton game.
Okay, sure.
Or maybe I should pick up a different old
Any of the other
game.
ones.
Is there going to be a new Professor Layton game?
Yeah.
They're now,
There's going to be one for Switch.
Yeah. Presumably it's not going to be any different from the handheld ones, really.
I guess not. Depends how if it will add controller support so you can play it on your telly, or if it is a handheld only experience to use the touchscreen. Either way, looks pretty good, right? Because level 5, get that after they do that style real well, graphic style at least.
Right.
You can have reservations about Ni no Kuni. It's fine. I'm out.
You're out?
I'm out. I'm done.
You've been in the closet so long, and now you're out.
I'm out. Pikachu's out.
I can't believe we waited all this time.
Now I've let my Pikachu out. I can't.
Finally out.
I just can't contain it anymore.
Fully out.
Pika.
Pika.
That aroma. I've let out that aroma.
Oh, God.
Oh, no. We better get out of this box then.
Yep.
The hot box.
The hot box.
All
Which
right,
has been pretty good. It's not been the worst. I mean,
We've
admittedly
had
that
the door
door's open, so,
Yeah, that helps. Yeah. This has been a podcast. We also do videos.
We do.
Check those out. We're doing a playthrough of Beyond Good and Evil, which is a good game.
Maybe.
I mean, it's less good than I remember it.
Yeah.
But which is most not almost always the case. But I guess it doesn't help that this PC version is a little jank.
It's got some style.
It's definitely got some style.
You can watch us play it, and then you don't have to play the jank. You can just enjoy the atmosphere.
Well, yeah, because annoyingly the PlayStation 2 version doesn't yet emulate well either, and that's probably the version you want to play.
So check us playing the PC version on YouTube. Happy Salad. Yeah.
Well, actually, maybe that 360 version's okay. They did do a re-release for 360, which presumably must have had good controller support.
Well, maybe.
And you better buy it soon if you're going to, because that 360 store's shutting down. News we forgot.
Oh, God. Last second news.
There's also some Deep Rock Galactic gameplay up on...
Quite a lot.
On
Not just that last video, but several other ones in case you want to go and see more of that.
4 other videos, in fact. There's 5 videos.
So you can check those out. And we'll be back with another one of these here podcasts in a couple of weeks. So join us then, won't you?
Are these podcasts
Won't
really
you?
here? These
Won't
here
you?
podcasts? What does that even mean when you say these here podcasts?
These here podcasts.
I mean, are they here?
They're wherever
Wherever you get podcasts
you
from.
get them.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
If something is everywhere, is it here?
You got this podcast from somewhere. And
The person listening to this has a specific file, so it's there.
yeah. And you may have more than one. You may have the previous one. You may have several previous ones. These here podcasts.
All right.
You might have a whole library of them going back 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, 14 years. I mean, you could have all those.
13 and a bit.
Come and download them. We've got a website, it's happysalad.net, and it has links to all of our podcasts with a download button, so you can click on those.
There is in fact a download button.
Yeah, and it also links
so then
through.
it's that there podcast because it's not here. It's there. It's on your
Well,
device.
it's in the cloud.
It's here for you. There for us.
Yeah, we're on the iTunes. We're on the
Yeah.
Various other podcatchers, I'm sure. We're not on the Spotify.
Podcast
I don't
addict.
think.
No, Spotify's a hurdle I haven't crossed yet.
No, we have to figure out how to get an RSS feed into
I got to stretch my
Spotify.
legs wide enough to make that in one jump.
Yeah, until we sign our exclusive deal with Spotify, and then we'll be off everything else. We have to take it all down.
We're taking offers.
Yeah. If you're looking to pick up a gaming podcast, you can find us here.
Of 3 half-assed Brits. There you go.
Yeah. What if they shut down the 360 store?
They're shutting the 360. Because they'd already shut down original Xbox Live, right? And
Right.
so 360. I think it's just the store. I think 360 Live will still work, but
Right. So if I get my 360 out, I can hook it up to Ethernet and I can still play, or I can still log in.
in theory, yeah.
Okay.
But you won't be able to necessarily download 360
that I
games you
purchased
don't
before.
already own that isn't already downloaded.
But my
Which is-
Microsoft points.
Which is a bit of a Which I think is a bit of a pain on 360 because I don't know if they support hard drives in the same way that the modern consoles do.
I know. Well,
no, they have the inbuilt drive, but if you wanted to attach an external,
I thought you could detach the 360 hard drive from the top of the thing.
Yeah, you can.
And
but like
you can do that.
But could you get anything off it?
Yeah, but can you then plug in your own like external drive to make sure you've got everything you own downloaded?
I don't know.
Because that's kind of the problem, right? Yeah, you can use that. You can use the drive on the 360, download what you can, but then that will fill up, and then
that must have been in a standard thing inside that caddy or whatever.
I think you could plug in memory sticks up to a certain size, is how I remember it. Because I'm sure I was doing that for a while. Yeah. I had like a memory stick for my like profiles or something, like a old Kingston USB drive or something. I would plug into it to manage that stuff. Although, like, save games are like totally, you don't need to do that anymore because they're all clouded.
Storage on the new Xbox? Because you can on the PlayStation, right?
Yes.
There's very stringent requirements for like what kind of flash drive. Oh, what's it called?
In Series X land, there is a specifically made upgrade you can buy.
Right.
Like a specific drive with a specific port from Microsoft that you plug into the back.
So it's not like
you can't replace it yourself. You have to buy this. It's like it's a terabyte external card that you plug in, and it's effectively an
that you just plug in
a solid state drive in a card.
That's cool.
It presumably has the right pipeline, so it still works at speed. But you can plug external drives into the Series X, like regular ass drives, but you can't run Series games off of them. You can run Xbox One era games off of an external drive as you please, but you can't run Series games off a. It has to be on an internal drive for that to work.
Interesting.
So they've sort of thought about it. So if you want to put all your back compat games on an external drive, go nuts. You can do that. It's fine.
Right.
Just not your FIFA 23s or your
most modern.
Would that NFS Unbounds. You couldn't do that.
Right. So they have to be back compat and stuff. Is that still the best way to play? Because they've just brought out the Red Dead Redemption or whatever, like remake on.
There's a whole Digital Foundry on this, but you can play the 360 version of Red Dead Redemption on back compat, and it's pretty close to what they've just released.
Yeah. Okay. I wonder because
there's like new anti-aliasing in the new version that is a little bit better than what the 360.
So is the best way to play it on PS5? That new version.
Yeah.
Okay, but on Xbox.
On Xbox, the new version is probably still technically the best way, but using the 360 back compat is fine.
Because it's a shame that until now that was the only way to play.
Yeah, I wonder how they did this new version. Like, did they actually solve the code spaghetti problem that was apparently legendarily the issue with Red Dead 1?
Because I don't know if it's worth getting that on Switch just because then it's portable, but then it'll be on the Switch, right? You won't be able.
Nintendo probably won't do good backwards compat. Whereas if you buy
after the Switch is superseded, like next year,
exactly, yeah. Whereas getting like the Xbox version now, you're probably more likely to have that for a lot longer.
That version isn't really on the Switch anyway.
Is it a cloud version?
Right.
Well, it's not.
I'm not sure it is. I think it is local.
I'm pretty sure it's.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a 360 game. It could definitely run on the Switch.
Or if it was Red Dead 2, 100%.
Oh, yeah,
it'll be streaming. But I think Red Dead 1's running locally on the Switch.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah. I don't know if that's the version to get. Yeah, maybe I should get the PS5 version of it. Oh, it's PS4. Is it? It's a PS4 game, but it runs on PS5.
Yeah.
Whatever, with that.
Yeah, like the PS4 Pro and the PS5 versions are identical.
Oh, identical. Okay.
But yeah, check out, there is a whole Digital Foundry on this if you care.
Okay.
And
I'll have a look.
Basically the only real difference is resolution, ultimately. But yeah, if you've got the 360 version, just use that.
Because there's been nice ways to play all the Grand Theft Auto games, but it hasn't been such a nice way to play Red Dead.
Well, even GTA 4, right?
Yeah,
that hasn't been.
I have that on PC, but I've got like Ballad of
Oh, sure, that version's fine. Yeah, the PC version is obviously fine.
Whereas that didn't exist for Red Dead, so
no,
I didn't have any way to play that. Yeah,
maybe that's coming if they've managed to untangle the code base problem a little bit. Or
cool.
So maybe we will get a PC version of that, which would be nice.
Nice.
That would be nice. And then it's preserved forever.
Yeah.
PC Master Race.
Yeah, because I feel like games have got to be like a bit more evergreen now. Like if you have I don't know, are they going to keep being more backward compatible? Like I was playing The Witness the other day or whatever, and it's like that's a PS4
game of the year.
Yeah. But like, when is that going to just be indefinitely good, like that copy of that, or will there be a point where that falls out? With probably not. Something like that.
I think games like that will be fine, right? Because it will.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I'm pretty tolerant of going back generations and playing games on older hardware as they were, and I don't know. I think games like The Witness style it out in a way where it's really not going to be a problem. I don't know, going back and play perhaps some of those like earlier 360 or PS3 titles that have a sort of grungy look to them because that's what everyone was doing at that time on that hardware. Those are probably a bit harder to go back to, more stylistically than technologically.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas, you go one generation earlier than that and I'm fine. Give me anything on the Cube. Yeah, it's all good. Give me PS1 games. Give me those pixels. Give me those giant ass pixels. I want them.
You're on your retro kick. What else is on the agenda for your retro kick?
Yeah, good question. I probably will play a bit more Hydro Thunder because I haven't played.
Oh yeah, it's all racing, but
it is all racing. Is racing?
You got that Dreamcast? Is that?
Yeah, that's a Dreamcast copy of Hydro.
Okay.
Well, that's my on my desk right now is a copy of Hydro Thunder for Dreamcast that does not work, but I do have a copy that works.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll play a bit more of that because I haven't unlocked everything in that game, and it's quite difficult as it turns out. But I will probably go play. Well, I was thinking of playing Four Wheel Thunder actually as well, which is the off-roading, like buggy racing game that was a follow-up to Hydro Thunder. Probably go check that out because I can't really remember a lot about that game other than what I've just told you. But I have it, so I'll play it. And I'll probably check out MSR.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
But racing games are just easy to go back to. That's the thing, because they don't require like too much of an investment. Like you can.
That's true.
You can literally
dip into.
Yeah, you can dip into the.
I was dipping into Wipeout the other day again.
Excellent.
I'm always going back to that Wipeout. What's it called?
Is it Pulse or Pure?
No,
Sorry.
the one on PlayStation 5 or whatever.
The Omega Collection.
Yeah, Omega Collection. Yeah,
yeah,
which does have like the Pulse and the Pure and sort of.
It has the HD,
the HD stuff, but it has 2048 or whatever stuff in it as well, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's a good ass game.
Yeah. Although I do have to like use the Spotify app within the PlayStation 5 to get like a decent soundtrack of classic Wipeout tunes.
Sure.
Because there's various playlists that people have made of Wipeout stuff.
Loads. Yeah.
So I like to break out a bit of that.
Not that I mind the Omega Collection soundtrack. It's
it's fine. It's just like it's not
quite as essential as some of the previous ones.
No, it's not quite extensive enough. Yeah. So that's good. So I was playing that. Playing a bit more Stray.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm surprised you haven't considered.
No,
your cat,
I do really want to play Stray.
I mean, you wiped through it pretty quickly, but yeah,
it just hasn't
very
come
atmospheric.
Well, it's not been available on Xbox for that long either because of the timed exclusive on PlayStation.
Oh right,
and PC.
Is it out now? Okay.
Yeah, I think it is out on Xbox now.
Yeah, it's nice looking. And it's just a cute thing, and it's nice that it has the cat locomotion. Basically, it's not really a proper platformer because you basically just see the prompt and press and jumps or whatever. But
it looks cool.
Good. And there are like sections with quite a lot of threat or whatever where you're being attacked by like they're basically like snarks.
The bug things. Yeah.
They're basically snarks from Half-Life. That's what I mostly found. But they kind of glom onto you, and it can be a bit frustrating because you're trying to shake them off. You can kind of shake them off. But like if too many attach, then you get like bogged down because you can't move with them on, and then it's
like pretty much instant death, kind of.
Then it's instant death, yeah. At that point, so it's tricky to get to some of those sections. A bit frustrated, but they don't last. They're quite short lived, but they are like action sequences because it's like a
run from camera.
You're running down a long passageway or something like a sewer drain type thing, being chased by those things.
No, I do definitely want to play that.
It's cool. I think you'd like it. It's quite a good, post-apocalyptic tone and stuff.
Yeah,
plus the cat stuff.
It's like classically, it's one of those games that it just drives like my gaming landscape these days is it's like, do I have to play it right now? If the answer is no, is it on Game Pass? Is
it on Game Pass?
No.
Oh, okay.
And if still no, there's plenty of things on Game Pass on my to-do list.
Mm-hmm.
So I will get to those first. Like 6 or 7 more Yakuza games.
Yeah.
But then, like even on that front, what's the spin-off from Yakuza called where you got the lawyer guy? I've forgotten its name now.
Is that a spin-off?
Yeah. Oh. Lost something.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
I keep thinking Lost Odyssey, but that's not the right game. Damn, I can't remember the name of that game now. Okay. Anyway, yeah, there's a spin-off. There's 2 spin-off games that are that I want to play. That apparently have pretty cool storylines. And are different, but not quite the same vibe, if you know what I mean. And it's like, well, that's interesting. Yeah, so anyway, I just ended up, my list is too big. I want to play Fist as well. Fist looks cool. It's like a Metroidvania where you're a rabbit wearing a giant robot backpack, but the backpack is a giant robot fist.
Right.
That game looks cool.
Have you got a list that you sort of maintain? And
Game Pass lets you do that. There's like a play later section you can add to.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to give that a go as well. I might try like Tinykin. Tinykin looks kind of interesting as a sort of like Pikmin alternative.
Yeah, are you going to play Pikmin then after Zelda? Now you're done with Zelda. The obvious one.
Maybe.
You like the demo, I thought.
Well, yeah, better than 3. Better than 3's demo, anyway.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it's got the best bits of like 1 and 2.
Maybe.
Or going a bit more back to some of the 2 stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. It seems like it might be. Is it full price? Oh, it must be.
Yes.
It's a Nintendo price.
Yeah, it's a Nintendo game.
Yeah, true. But it does look. It looks like it's got decent value.
No, I did. I was about to say, did I talk about Sonic Superstars price? Yes, yes, I did, because that pissed me off quite a lot.
Yeah, the full price of that. I mean, are you ever going to go to Sonic Frontiers? Is the question.
Oh no, I'll play Sonic Frontiers eventually. I have to.
Someone's going to buy it for you for Christmas.
Oh yeah. It's getting free DLC soon as well.
Oh, is it? Okay. Is that not on Game Pass? I'm surprised.
No.
Okay.
Sonic Tax. Sonic Tax is also a thing now, apparently.
Is there a Sonic Tax? Well, they don't deserve a tax quite in the same way as Nintendo.
When they first launched, they hold for a while, and then eventually they'll go on sale, and that sale will be steep. But it's like that holding period is generally a bit longer with Sonic these days. Not sure it's justified either. The recent run of Sonic has not been, other than Sonic Mania. What am I even talking about when you say the recent run of Sonic? There was basically Sonic Mania and then Sonic Forces killed it immediately.
Immediate death, right? Yeah.
And since then we've only really had Frontiers and Sonic Origins collection. Blah.
Yeah.
Team Sonic Racing.
I feel like Frontiers got some love though, didn't it?
For doing something new.
Yeah,
in the Sonic verse.
It's an open zone gameplay.
Well, I played like the first couple of levels of Sonic Rush. I did that.
All right.
I mean, it's a Sonic game. It's a pretty good Sonic game.
What?
I haven't played enough.
Making videos of it? Or?
No, not yet. I was just playing on my DS.
Yeah, okay, fair. Is that emulatable?
No. I mean, you can emulate it.
Yeah, right.
You can emulate
just
DS. You can emulate DS pretty easily these days. But it's just weird because of the 2 screens. And like, if we've got a touchscreen game, you probably need to do that with a mouse or play it on a touchscreen device.
What did you do on videos, or do you do Sonic Advance?
We did Sonic Advance 2.
Right.
Half of it.
Yeah, we never finished it because we got to a level that we couldn't finish.
Because we were doing real bad.
So it needs to get some practice in, and then have another go at it. I yield. I'm not good enough. My attempts were way worse. There's just one hole that we kept falling down. Go watch that video. It's funny.
Is that going to happen with Sonic Rush?
No, Sonic Rush I think it has some death holes, but I think it's way more lenient in that front. definitely bits of that game I forgot. Like, I just kind of just for ages was forgetting to do tricks. Like, while I was.
So how could you forget that?
I know, that's the whole thing.
The only noise you'll ever hear.
Yeah, woo, yeah.
You guys haven't done. I mean, the obvious one to do is Sonic Adventure 2 videos, right?
Yeah, we haven't got to that yet. We did Sonic Adventure 1.
But you guys played the crap out of Sonic Adventure 2. I seem to remember.
Yo.
Just flying around as though what's the bat girl? Rouge. Just endlessly trying to hunt for gems or whatever the hell you had to.
The emerald shards.
Dig them out of the ground or something.
Yeah. That was that. Yeah. That was their whole thing. Knuckles and Rouge sort of shared that game style,
right? Because they were pairs, were they? So
yeah. So there were 3 game styles. You had Sonic and Shadow, Knuckles and Rouge, and Eggman and Tails.
Right.
Sharing combat styles or gameplay styles.
And Eggman and Tails both had mechs. Right?
Yeah,
that was the idea. Is they both like build stuff.
Slow moving shooting.
Right. Yeah. Perfect Sonic gameplay.
yeah. Slow it right down.
Did that mean that like a third of it was a Sonic game?
A third of it was a Sonic game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Surely that's.
It wasn't a great ratio.
No. Okay. Not the best ratio.
But at the time, we thought the Sonic stuff was pretty good.
Yeah. What would be the height of that kind of 3D Sonic?
Generations, probably. Yeah.
Do you think?
Generations is pretty good.
Like the 3D stages of those.
Yeah.
They're not side-on stages, though.
Generations. Because they were starting to get that right with Sonic Unleashed.
Right.
But Unleashed doesn't quite nail it because it has some pretty awkward level design in some places. We also did a video of that at one point, like of the Unleashed mod for Sonic Generations.
Oh. Mod?
Yeah, someone managed to mod in the Unleashed levels into Sonic Generations.
Okay.
Yeah. But Sonic Generations probably gets modern Sonic done the best, I think. And that game's like, at least 10 years old now. Probably more. Yeah, it's probably over 10 years old now. Modern Sonic. They've never quite nailed it. Sonic Rush Adventure, I guess. Does that count as modern Sonic? It's 2D, but
I guess kind of.
Yeah.
What is that? Rush Adventure?
That was the sequel to Sonic Rush. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay.
It had more text bubbles.
So how are we going to end this podcast now? Are we going to cut out that whole ending that we already did and paste it?
No,
or are we just going to cut this whole 15 minutes of extra conversation off the end?
Oh, I don't know. We've got a few things to talk about, haven't we?
No, it can stay. We ended it, and now we'll end it again.
I've been playing some God of War Ragnarok.
Oh shit, we're still going.
Why did you say this when we were talking about what games we were playing? And I asked you what games you were playing, and then you fobbed off onto Rob for some reason.
It's my section now. We've done yours and Rob's.
This is already past the end of the podcast. Why is your section here? Why did we end the podcast 15 minutes ago?
Well, you don't have to hear about it. It's fine.
No, I want to hear about it.
It's cool. No, it's okay. I can talk about it next time.
Tell me about Ragnarok.
Thanks for joining.
That's also on my to-do list. Where I to get a PS5.
You should play it. It's good. Yeah,
I'm sure it is.
The original, right?
Yeah,
it is more of the same, but it's beautiful. Like you should see the house where the brothers live or whatever. Like now, the dwarf brothers or whatever.
Oh right, yeah.
It has the most incredible.
It's got a good ceiling.
That is a killer ceiling. If you want to talk ceilings, like I was saying that like Deus Ex Human Revolution had the best ceilings in gaming, but man, that is definitely a competition. I would say. Although
ceiling.
there's just one. I mean, there's other good ceilings in the game, definitely. But that is definitely a good one. It's a really cool, and that's like a hub area kind of, because you keep coming back to their kind of house, and it's got like a
was that the equivalent of like the portal thing?
Yeah. Well, you still have the tree, but the thing is that. Luckily, PS5 does mean that the tree loading sections are shorter.
Oh, right.
But they're still there. I was wondering if they would exist anymore.
Where you still have to do the pointless walk around that route.
You still have to do the pointless walk, but they were a lot quicker than they used to be. But that used to be where you'd get some exposition, right? Where you'd be talking to the boy or whatever as you walked around.
And so it had enough time to load, but then would also time the portal appearing to the end of the speech.
Exactly. So that was quite nicely done. It was basically an elevator from Mass Effect or whatever. But yeah, thanks to the PS5, it's a bit better on that. Although it's not technically a full-blown Like, yeah. I think it's still, obviously it still plays on a PS4, I think.
Yes, it does.
So you could probably play it on your PS4 Pro.
I could, but I kind of I sort of don't want to. Like, it's one of those games where I feel like it's like I probably just want the full fat experience.
Yeah.
Bit like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like I haven't gone into like Miles Morales. You can get for PS4 as well now, I think.
Yeah,
but like
about game Miles Morales because
I think maybe I'm wrong on that, but I don't know. I think Spider-Man 2 is. I can't remember if Spider-Man 2 is cross-gen. I think it might still be.
Is it? No way.
I don't know. Yeah.
That's because I just saw like they've expanded the world's news, I guess, but they've expanded the world like 3 times or something. So you get Manhattan, but they've got Brooklyn and Queens. Because, of course, Spider-Man's from Queens, right? Obviously. But I don't know how that would quite work, because obviously all the traversal, that's the classic thing about Spider-Man, is you need the tall buildings to do the swinging. So I wonder if they've got like new traversal mechanics just for like the low
Venom
rise.
just fires himself out of a cannon or something.
Yeah. Or maybe like has some kind of sticky, I don't know, like can project himself or something. Yeah.
Or you borrow the fish guy who was in that trailer. He just swims you over there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
You make friends with fish guy.
Great, but I'm hoping they pull it out because
it has the problem that it was the exact same trailer structure as they opened the first game with. So it's like, what are you doing new? And it's like, when we're doing more is what it, and it doesn't work a second time. Doesn't work for a second game quite the same way. Or third game, I guess. Even if you have got Venom and, you've got a weirdly angry sounding, like not quite right bit of voice acting to go with it. I don't know. Is Venom just a bad character?
Well, he's bad because he's, what do you call it? Edgelord, right? That's the problem with Venom, right? He's like embarrassingly like cool.
He's
like
Shadow.
He's Shadow. Yeah, basically. What if they should do that where Sonic is and Shadow's like a symbiote over Sonic or whatever, like the equivalent of that? They could probably do that, like a game like that.
Man, Sonic's so cool.
Did you play the Shadow the Hedgehog game? Like that would
No, I've never actually played Shadow.
Yeah, where we've literally got pistols.
Yeah, he's got guns.
Like, that's so stupid.
And Sonic has a go at you for shooting humans, but you can do it.
Yeah. I think that would make for a fun video. That's like the equivalent of,
oh my god,
like doing The Room or something, like a bad movie that deliberately. Oh, Sonic 06, I suppose. Where you completely like.
I don't think I could stomach playing Sonic 06 again.
Much. Yeah.
There are elements of Sonic 06 that do actually function, but like some of the main stages are fine. The one they demoed actually is fine, but no, don't do it to yourself.
No.
Not at least with like some severe modding to make it so there's no loading pauses. It fucking sucks. So that's a podcast about video games.
Yeah, it's a podcast about video games.
It makes me sad thinking about Sonic 06 and how excited I was for it.
That must have been like hype, like maximum hype.
Oh man, it was hype for me. It's like, it's next gen Sonic. It's coming off the back of Sonic Adventure 2. What can go? Sonic Heroes. They came in afterwards, and that wasn't that good. It's like, what could possibly go wrong? It's like a return. That demo was like a return to form in a way. The demo was like the one thing they got right.
Probably.
It's no use. That's the Silver the Hedgehog reference. I can't even say it now. This podcast needs to end. I can't talk.
Okay, fine. Thanks for joining us. Catch you next time.